defensive players because in the future, they could end up becoming big pieces for us. James Fabroni might commit next week. But then there are other battles where I think we just got to understand we're not going to come out on top. Alabama is gaining very quickly on this athlete, so we're just going to remove him from our board. I'd honestly rather schedule more guys for a visit that we can. It seems like Oklahoma is about to pull away here. And a problem that's going to come up that I normally use to our advantage in a lot of these rebuilds is whenever we can only recruit out of Oklahoma and Texas, the transfer portal and finding prospects that aren't being targeted by other schools becomes a lot harder. Ideally, though, we can keep on winning throughout this season and not lose as many players to the portal, so we don't have to rebuild as much. Well, it turns out we couldn't even beat Arizona. They're not supposed to be that good, so this is disappointing. But we have a couple other visit weeks set up, one of them against Houston, so those might just be the games that I hop into this season. There's no guarantee that we come out on top whenever I play these, but I like to have control over what happens whenever we have a lot of prospects come to town. If we lose, I'd much rather it be my fault than in the hands of Sim, and that's what it's seeming like this result is going to be. Currently, we're trying to get into the end zone here. It's going to be third and goal, and I'm considering this 4-down territory. We got man-to-man coverage on our running back. What a throw from Osenji. Not having our starting left guard or Frederick Brock IV due to dislocated shoulders for this game has been a bit of a challenge. Our offense is already not great. It's definitely made it worse. Though we're in a position where on 3rd and 8, we can knock that out. We've gotten the ball back with an opportunity to run out the clock. We're going to keep it. No one picks up their block. But I'm hoping our offensive line can do that on 3rd and 1, which is what they have done. In an effort to try and get us off of the field, the Cougars have been using their timeouts. But one more first down would seal it. We just hurtled straight over number 6, and we're still on our feet. You know, that play from backup Trent Howland made me realize maybe we should be using him more often in the future. He filled in pretty nicely, but then I realized he's already a senior. 247 pounds, by the way, moving like that. Just absolute madness. We get 5-star edge Nick Song to commit from Texas, but this is where you're going to see a lot of battles I think we've lost. As excited as I should be, Kansas State just jumped in front on James Fabroni, the guy I wanted at tight end. For quarterback Benedict Castro, still has not chose our school. And you can see us falling behind on certain prospects. Oklahoma gets the athlete, Arkansas gets this right guard. All of this happening in a class where we need to fill it up with 35 players for sure. And what I've just realized is there are no cornerbacks available, even 2-star corners available for us to get. So we're going to have to start going after 3 safeties and moving them over there. That's a major problem for us. The last week that we had players on visit for was against the Bearcats, which means we might as well hop into this one here. After that, we are going to have to simulate the rest of the season, though, where anything could happen. Well, Cincinnati came to play against us. We're down by 21 with a minute left. I'm going to try and make a miracle happen here. We're just hitting into an interception. This is going to be the downfall that continues with Oklahoma State football. For what was a visit week for 4 players, this is not an ideal result. I guess that performance didn't stop Benedict Castro from wanting to be a part of the Cowboys, but that could literally be the last win we have this entire season. We're about to have to go on the road to rivals number 7 Texas Tech. I wish I could sit here and tell you that there was so much winning going on, but there's just not. James Fabroni decided on Kansas State, so we're going to have to play him basically every season now. Joey Ortiz locked this out. He prefers Houston and Oklahoma, I think. Texas took away this right guard. We already know Arkansas took this getaway. And then Oklahoma has entered the battle late to get this offensive lineman across. I mean, for most of these 3 stars, we seem to be pretty safe. We need to be safe on the free safety because if we can't get ourselves some corners, we're going to have a problem. Well, we finished 4-8 in the regular season, so there are 32 players that have a chance to transfer out. We should have never maxed out how many players could transfer every year. This is not good. After Cincinnati blew us out, Texas Tech did as well. We beat Kansas, but that was the last team that we were able to take down, and they still finished at number 18. It is never ideal, though, to be sitting near the bottom of the Big 12. I guess our season could have gone as bad as it did for BYU. And you might be wondering, what is my plan for our coach? Well, the first thing I want to do is we're going to be a recruiter, and we're going to make sure that we have a better chance of getting defensive back transfers, because we're going to need all the help that we can get. But what I'd ideally like to do is get a little bit into tactician and then go down this strategist pathway, where if you get to tier 3, then the players will have a lower deal breaker threshold, causing them to not transfer as often. That's kind of my goal. I don't really care for either of these architects that are currently on our staff, so we're just going to fire them. And for their replacements, I'm looking for the exact coach build that I just described. Chris Creighton fits that mold, so we're going to try and hire him, which is something that we were able to pull off. I'm excited for that. I found a defensive coordinator, though. Is he going to be hired as well? It's Rutgers head coach. Greg is with us now. To me, these 2 hires are going to be a really big deal. Currently, OC has nothing in the strategist tier that's going to prevent players from transferring out this year, but Chris Creighton could get better at that in the future. For Greg Schiano, it's the same thing. He's not reached lower the bar yet. But in the future, I'm hoping that they do. And somehow, Cade Klubnik won the Heisman and Clemson won the national championship. The season's not looking that way in real life. We're about to find out if we're really going to lose our entire future. And the worst part about it is the persuasion chance. For all these players, basically, there's no chance of even convincing them to come back. With our 2 persuasions, we already failed the first one on a 66 overall. We can't get a 71 overall either. Then we really fuck with y'all niggas, man. Seniors that are graduating. We just had our whole roster practically eviscerated, and not a single player was drafted. If I look at our team needs, you can't count up seniors right now. We currently have 37 players on the team. That is why it's crucial we sign a class of 35 players so we can fill up a lot of those missing holes. Ben DeCastro, just as impact development. I want to see elite somewhere. Nick Song, the 5-star edge, is normal down. So funny enough, Christian Dauman, this 3-star edge, might end up being better than the 5-star because he's got star development. Oklahoma stole this tight end from us. You also know they stole the right tackle. So those were the only 3 stars we didn't win out on. But if we look past just the high school recruits, we still have 14 spots on our roster to get guys in the transfer portal. For players that are located in the state of Oklahoma, there's a few that we can go after. Texas is going to be much bigger for us, though, and I also feel like we should be able to recruit transfers if they played for a team in the states of Oklahoma and Texas. It's a good thing I realized as well that those players that we were targeting were just guys that were interested in our school off the rip. There's still some other 3-star transfers we can get from those states without it. That includes multiple cornerbacks that we know we desperately needed, so we're just going to advance a few weeks, see where we sit in some of these battles. Michael Hawkins Jr., quarterback, could be a huge fall, where I highly doubt that Haas Henji is going to be very happy that we're already looking past him, but we know that we're not going to be able to retain him for very long the second that we get his accuracy up. If you were wondering how he performed this season, 55% completion, 16 touchdowns to 16 picks, a 1-to-1 ratio, it's just not good. Freddie brought the 4th rush for almost 1,000 yards, and on the receiving end, the most we had was 654 yards. What I did in week 2 was I used visits on the 4-star prospects on our board. It worked out for Robert Fitzgerald. We got his hard sell correctly. We've jumped up to number 1, where we're in a good spot. Then for Ricky Hunt Jr., his hard sell was incorrect, but the visit means we stay in first place. Michael Hawkins Jr., though, I decided to use the sway just so we could have the best hard sell possible. And that ended up making all of the difference as the future of our program has committed. He's only going to have impact development and I think be with us for 2 seasons, but he used to be at Oklahoma. We're going to be playing the Bedlam in this rebuild. I do not care if they've canceled it in real life. We also got basically every transfer portal player besides Caden Cook. The freshman chose Air Force. But I don't really care because we were able to sign the 14th best class in the country. We still got that 5-star even if his depth trait is awful. And it is the best class in the Big Ten, even though we only recruited out of Oklahoma and Texas. Just to verify that, I can scroll through all of these players and you'll see we're building out of 2 states, trying to build a contender out of them. At least for the time being, I think we were able to patch up some of the holes on this roster. Now, I've recruited Connor Westbrook to be a tight end for us, but it looks like he could be a better edge rusher. It's tempting to move him over there. We might in the future if we didn't get so many other athletes that were also on our defensive line that are going to play there. As for our player progression, which I have no control
y'all can't make shit happen, nigga. Y'all can't make shit happen like me.
If we know there's certain things that we can progress them in. It will make this rebuild harder. You'll see our best players in 86 overall.
Y'all niggas ain't got no pull like me, nigga.
Michael Hawkins Jr. actually didn't improve that much compared to Haas Henji, so we might have to consider which of these 2 quarterbacks we stick with. It's just his deal breaker is so much better. He's just as fast. They both have the shifty ability. He actually has magician as well. His
I know y'all niggas mean good.
Even quicker, so. For now, we're going to lean on Michael Hawkins Jr. Unfortunately, whenever...
But y'all niggas can't make shit happen like good again, nigga. Y'all niggas can't make... Y'all can't make nothing happen like me, nigga.
A lot of the transfers we actually brought in. They care about brand exposure, and ours just isn't great enough. We patched up our cornerback issue, though. Gentry Williams was an incredible transfer. He has 99 speed. Only problem, he's only here for a season. And if we want to retain guys on this team, we've got to unlock strategists. The issue, we have to win 4 bowl games.
Y'all niggas can't do what I do, nigga.
8 skill points to spend, we might as well spend our 15 tactician. I think what we're really going to appreciate...
Y'all don't know what I know.
...here is just boosting up all of these stats, including his throwing accuracy. We can go down this pathway farther if we need to, but for now, I just want to save up coach points for when we inevitably get strategists unlocked. As for our team needs, we currently have 71 players on the roster, only 12 seniors, but again, if players transfer out, we're probably going to replace everyone. We're shooting for a full class of 35 guys, especially...
Y'all niggas can't can't make shit happen like me, nigga.
We have to go after them early. Everyone from Oklahoma has already locked us out of that position, though there are a couple from Texas.
I don't care who you
Even
with.
better news for us, a couple of them ended up being gyms, so hopefully we'll be able to secure their commitment. We have some more.
Okay, what's your name? Shit, hold on. Addin? Your name Addin? Shit, I don't know your. I can't pronounce your name, nigga.
An elusive bruiser with 88 speed, but if he doesn't have a good dev trait, he'll never become that great. Rashawn Linton, a receiver with only 87 speed. Those aren't numbers that.
I can't pronounce your name, nigga. What's your name? Addin? Aladdin Fitzgerald, nigga. I can't pronounce your name, homie.
Has changed how I game, which might sound crazy. They're a clothing brand, but they're
I'm an OG.
the reason I wear pants while filming that. They are that.
My vision is fucked up, nigga.
It's all about designing clothes for movement that are built for life, and obviously the joggers have been my favorite piece. But there's
nigga, I'm about to go to sleep, dog. My vision fucked up, nigga. My vision is gone.
Seriously.
It might look like I'm looking at you, but my vision is gone, nigga. I never thought I'd say that shit, nigga, but my vision is gone. It ain't like it used to be, dog. I can't focus on you niggas like that, nigga. I appreciate y'all coming in, showing Glitter Gang love, nigga, but I can't do that for you.
Now that you've done that, though, we can get
I can't do that for you now. I can't do it for you now, dog. I can't do it for none of y'all.
Ruin this program if we lost again, especially since it's the whole reason for this rebuild in the first place. Michael Hawkins Jr., by the way, gonna take
y'all cool and everything, but I can't focus on you fucking niggas no more, dude.
He never transfers, which is exciting. Ultimately, he's led us to this win over the Golden Hurricanes, scoring 30 points. Though our defense has also played a role in it.
Cause y'all fake, y'all niggas, y'all niggas fake as hell.
I was hoping for a return. We couldn't get that going though. We win the Toronto Pipe Classic and start the season 1-0. To follow that one up, we should be taking down an FCS school. And not only did we do that, but
and I don't fucking fake niggas, dude.
Yards, winning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. One thing you might notice though, as we look at our schedule this season, is there's no Bedlam series against Oklahoma on here. I forgot to put it, so it won't be returning until next year. But number 6 Auburn is another tough SEC opponent that we're gonna have to face. I'm not looking forward to that at all. Checking in on
Aladdin Fitzgerald, I don't know you, dog.
For the 5-star edge, did we guess his hard sell correctly?
But you good though. You asked for a lot. Let me see what you asked for. Yo, brother, we gotta get this shit.
And we took down the Jayhawks
this chat.
This feels like a good opponent.
I'm finna advertise. What you about to advertise? What you about to advertise? And Aladdin. What you about to advertise, nigga? Talk to me.
You compare our roster to what they have.
Talk to me, dog. Hey, what you about to advertise, nigga? What's up?
So I'm not surprised they beat us 34-18. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not what really matters. What matters is if we can.
You wanna talk money? You wanna talk though? What? You wanna talk money, nigga?
Well, I literally take that back. Defensive backwards that we spent only an off-season building.
Baby, we can talk.
And so Kansas hasn't gotten over the board once. It's 44-0, and we're just going to try and run out.
More fishes in the sea.
Completely able to do that. They did get off the board, but so did Lee. And Mary Peterson had over.
You can follow my lead.
57 and 3 tutties to be specific. It's a big game out of the transfer, but unless our brand exposure rises, he's the one transfer out. Could be so much better. If he ends up being a one-year rental, though, at least he positively contributed to this program, getting us to sign 5-star edge Cortez. We can only hop into one more game this season, though, and I think we got a long year ahead of us. We're about to face off against Iowa State, and then the week after, we have to go and play Auburn. So I'm expecting back-to-back losses. As long as we continue to sign some more quarterbacks along the way, though, I'll be happy with the 12 people. We're actually sitting at 42, which is pretty impressive. We dropped 54.
I'm beating my chest like the rest of Phil Lay on my spread.
Basically, every single team in this Delta schedule is ranked in Big 12 as well. So that's not for a little bit of a recruiting update, though. We have 2 4-star gyms who will come on to visit this week against Texas. They're most likely going to stay high halfback Steven Vogel, so I appreciate if you can take him down this matchup. Only problem is going into this rivalry, they're number 18 in this country, sitting at 6-1. We're going to take down the Red Raiders. We're going to have to play some pretty good football. And look at the way we started this game. We scored 7 points. We're going for another set. I absolutely do not mind going for it on 4-1.
You got something to say?
Michael Watkins Jr. somehow escaped the pressure. And one thing I'm not too familiar with is the receivers that we have on this team.
Hold on.
Hold
on, what's your name? Hot online man. If you want to find LM, you look for her. I don't fuck with LM, dude. You want to find LM, you look for her. You find her the best way you can. I don't fuck with LM. Okay?
I thought we scored a touchdown. That was not the 2-point conversion.
Don't ask me about no fucking LM. Don't ask me about Jackson. Don't ask me about David. Don't ask me about none of that shit. I don't know these niggas, man.
The hard part about being in this position, though, is with
hot online, man. You find them niggas.
I honestly thought that was it for us. They've handed it off on Thursday.
If you can't find them, all bad. You shouldn't have got personal with them niggas, dog. Period. If you can't find them niggas, you shouldn't have got personal with them. That's what I'm telling all you fucking niggas. If you can't find the niggas, y'all keep asking me about these fucking niggas, dude. I don't know nothing about these fucking niggas. I'm from the internet. I don't know nothing about these fucking niggas. Y'all find the niggas best way y'all know how, dude. LM, Jackson, whatever. Them niggas ain't paying me shit to keep up with them. You feel me? I ain't gotta keep up with them niggas.
We have come back and done.
Talking about where's LM. I don't know fuck LM, man. I don't care about where LM is at. You feel me? I don't care about where LM is at, dude. Damn. I mean, you talking about all them, so what? Who gives a fuck? You ain't give me no money to bring them back, they ain't coming back. They will never come back. If ain't no money for them to come back, they'll never come back, nigga. They gone. They gone. They are gone. They're no more. No more Ella. No more LM. No more Mandy. No more Jackson. No more David, nigga. You gonna have to find them niggas in the next life.
And so no matter what happens in these final 3 matchups, we are going with it. Well, in those final 2 games, we went 1-2, but we start with reception time. That is something I think we should be proud of for next season. I would like to see us get closer to 10 wins. In my opinion, that's pretty feasible. We got UAB and the Scooters Coffee Bowl. I actually know of one of those down the street here in Louisville. I did not know they had it like that for them to sponsor a bowl game, but it must be like a national chain or something. As you can see, we closed out basically every prospect besides Stephen Curl. He did choose Texas Tech, even though we beat them. And outside of Carlos Colon having starter development, which I love for a 3-star corner, and then 3-star corner Quincy McKee having elite development, everybody else on this team was either normal or impact. Impact is a lot better than normal, though. I'll tell you that. So to have that on our 5-star X this time around feels a lot better. Jalen Elder is the receiver that we're going to need to stop. Look at that stat line. This is their best receiver. If we somehow blew this game to the Blazers, I'd actually be extremely let down. And like everybody expected, there was nothing for us to worry about against UAB. Michael Watkins Jr. is going to try to have some fun back here at the pocket at the very end, but all that lets me know is when we get
they don't want to show they suck. These niggas won't get mad at me because these niggas don't want to show they ain't got no channels, nigga.
They scored their only touchdown in the very end. Apparently in this playthrough, Buxton is just going to be elite. Davos Lee has found his way in because they've won another national title. So we'll see if they go for the 3-peat next year. Michael Watkins Jr. had twice as many touchdowns as interceptions, and that is already doubling the ratio that we had last year. I'd like to see that. Marion Peterson rushing for 17 touchdowns, but he wants to transfer due to brand exposure. That is why I recruited guys like true freshman Dante Hedgie, who was our leading receiver with 9 touchdowns, 680 yards. He cares about proximity to home, so he's not just going to leave. There's a lot of players on this team that will, though, and I don't think we're going to have anybody in our running back room besides the guys we've recruited and maybe one play. What we can try to do is convince some of them to come back, but ultimately, we're going to fail when the chances are extremely low. We're going to try and get Haas Henji to come
I don't know. I guess you gotta find them, homie.
Song back either.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Shanks X?
Forgot he cared about playing time, and yet didn't get him on the field unless that's a new deal breaker. This is a major oversight. I don't care that we just signed another 5-star edge. We could have had 2 5-stars.
What's up, baby? I'm about to go to sleep, nigga.
The fact that we just lost a lot of our cornerbacks and like 10 other players to graduation, this team might take a hit. But it really just depends how we do during this transfer portal period. And we could recruit Ricky Hunt Jr. back to Oklahoma State if we want. We can also go after American Peterson. So that's what we're going to do. Micah Tease, you've seen me get him in previous rebuilds. He'd be a great pull from the state of Oklahoma. The rest of the transfers on here are basically all from Texas. And there weren't as many high-profile names on the board this year, so I haven't felt as much pressure since we're going to run...
If you keep asking me where motherfuckers at, you about to get banned. Okay? You stop it. You about to get banned, my nigga. You keep asking me where motherfuckers at, you about to get banned.
It's not going to be rated as highly as our last one, coming in at number 22, but we still did it through just...
Next time you ask another question, you gone, but you gone. You gonna have to come back with a different account, nigga. You gone. I ain't trying to keep seeing that shit you posting. Talk about where people at and shit, nigga. Unless you pay some money, you can talk. Other than that, nigga, stop asking me about where motherfuckers at, nigga.
But I think with this current roster, we're gonna be
if you do it again, you gone, nigga. Well, I don't. Hold on. Okay, you don't speak Ebonics. I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't ask me about no other motherfucker, nigga, or you gone. Your name is gone on this channel. You hear me? Talk about some different shit, nigga. You speak that, right?
We recruited a year ago to transfer if he doesn't get playing time this season, since he could also become really good. It puts us in an interesting spot.
Don't do it again, nigga. Don't do it again. Because if you do it again, you done, nigga. You had to come back with a different account fucking with me.
Just came in as a freshman. He's demanding playing time, but he is normal development, so I'm not even sure how much I want to give it to him. That normal dev is the case for every receiver that we've gotten besides Kobe Foreman, though, and it's not good because those young guys need to progress more.
I thought so, nigga.
So even though he has the potential to be one of the best, he's gonna leave. That is exactly why I want to get down strategist to tier 3 as soon as possible. As you can see, the Bedlam series is back. We're gonna be going to Oklahoma this year. And when it comes to the prospects from our state that are a 4-star or higher, there's not very many to choose from. We have to recruit guys that we know that we can retain. So Gabe Ruggan is just gonna be overlooked. But if we look at Texas, I'm sure there's plenty of other options that we can choose from. Another thing that's starting to become a big problem for us is I'm recruiting guys that care about conference prestige, but the Big 12's conference prestige has dropped down to a B+. I think this is the least excited I've been about a recruiting class so far, but as you can see, I'm looking at 3-star receivers from Texas, and they're not very good. They're not fast. Even the speedster only came in with 85, so these are the best 2 I could find. And then outside of him, we got a 3-star right tackle. We got some 4 stars up on our board that we have a chance at getting. Maybe we even get a 5-star for a 3rd straight year, but I'm not excited, like I was saying. There's not some stud there that I think is going to change the program, but sometimes those are the classes that have the best players that come through. We're just going to sim straight to the Bedlam series. Tulsa is no longer a team that we should be concerned about as we blew them out 41-7. This is the one that counts though, and what I think is really neat is it says, "Don't I know you?" OK State's Hawkins Jr. says there's extra motivation against his former team in this week's game. So at least they can reference back to a player's former team as he came from the Sooners and now he's looking to take them down. This could be the ultimate revenge story for Michael Hawkins Jr. And I'm not sure which team decided to call off the Bedlam series, but if it was the Sooners, I'm starting to see why. We've been able to jump off to a 34-0 start, and the Sooners got so desperate to just put some points on the board to avoid full embarrassment that they're kicking a field goal instead of trying to win it big. It is safe to say that the Bedlam is going to belong to Oklahoma State for the time being, but we have to play them again next year. And when you compare what Demond Williams Jr. did versus what Michael Hawkins Jr. did, I think it is clear who the better QB is. I just know the Sooners are really missing him right now. I think we can continue our winning streak against the Mountaineers. They've been a big letdown to their fans. hands for a few seasons. Maybe even the last decade. On the recruiting front, Texas is in front of us on multiple players. I should probably just give up on these tackles, but I was trying to sway to see if that could get us back into the battle. I think we're going to pull out of him. And then we're going to pull into someone like Rico Dove, who we could get on a visit in week 4 and try our best to just close this out. We had to beat West Virginia.
Hey, you gone, my nigga. You gone.
41-20.
What's your name? How online, man? You gone, my nigga.
Walk through every team. I highly doubt that that's.
Hey, you gone. Have a good night. Have a good night, nigga. You gone. You tired. You tired.
We've decided to play against 3-0 Arizona. I really feel
You
like
tired,
there's
my
not
nigga.
anybody on this team that is just a standout guy. But we have a lot of solid players, and I feel like with all of them combined, it makes for a good team. We just went up 21-3 on the
That nigga got tired, nigga. He tired, nigga. Niggas get tired fucking with glitter gang,
Another
nigga.
big week for visits is coming up against the Horned Frogs, but if I hop into this game, I can't play any other game this season, so we have to send. Well, I knew at some point we weren't just
You gonna ask me no goofy ass questions, nigga. Time for sleep. Yeah, time for sleep stream, nigga.
Second half, and it's going to be the reason a lot of defensive players want to reconsider coming to Oklahoma State. It's a pretty frustrating result to see since we had the schedule for us to win so many games.
Niggas get tired. Niggas get tired when they fuck with me.
Baylor beat us, but apparently they're ranked now.
Gang, what up, Timu? What up, Timu? Gang, nigga. Niggas get tired when they fuck with glitter gang, nigga. You feel me? It's sleep stream. Niggas get tired when they fuck with glitter gang, nigga. It's time to go to sleep. Niggas wanna fuck with me, nigga.
Maybe in week 9 our visit
You feel me?
Texas is going to help us out. We have more 3-stars than ever before on our board, and I think we can afford to just simulate another few weeks since I want to play the game against the Cyclones where hopefully we can take down a ranked team. Well, I made the mistake of simming to week 13 instead of 12. I thought we played Iowa State week 13. We ended up beating them in that game, but BYU beat us the week before, so we're at 8-3, but we're ranked. We just squeezed inside the top 25. There's not a chance for us to get to the conference championship, so there's not really a point to play against Kansas now. But I'm hoping that we come out on top because that means we at least finish this season 9-3 and inside the top 25. I might regret leaving this one up to Sim, but I'm going to trust the roster we've built. And this might be the best game that we've collectively played.
Timu Gang made the best point of the night, nigga. Timu Gang made the best point of the night, nigga. Timu Gang, that's why he got mine. He made the best point of the fucking night. Hey, gang, what up? Hey, gang, Timu, you made the best point of the night, nigga. You made you was the realest shit of the night, nigga.
So I think we're gonna win those
shit. Hey, they better follow, motherfuckers better follow your step, nigga.
So the Heisman Trophy winner, that one is gonna go to Alabama quarterback Keelan Russell. He has stayed there, did not transfer. We have gotten North Texas in the.
He made the realest shit. He made the realest step of the night, dude.
This is a team that we
Timu Gang, nigga. I respect that nigga.
Fifth in the Big 12, though. I actually really appreciate a lower overall bowl opponent. I can guarantee there were tougher matchups out there that we could have got stuck with, but we did. And as we should run away with this.
Timu had the realest night. He had the realest fucking night.
After it seemed like this was just going to be a great win for us, North Texas played really well defensively. They've held us 2-0.
I respect that nigga, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
To score a touchdown that would tie things up. In fact, I'm so desperate. We're just going to send in a blitz here. Where he got that ball out? I'm sorry, but there's no way he got that ball out at all. We're going to send in another blitz. That makes it 4th and 12. All we have to do is watch over the middle. And he throws up a 50-50 ball. That's caught. There's no way North Texas does this. We have to set the quarterback spot in case he does the scramble. We're watching. We're stuck. Come on. We locked up. This was looking like an awful choke job, but we recovered onside kick. We got it. The Scooters Coffee Bowl ended up being a really interesting finish. As long as we get the win, that's all that we need. And when it comes to the number of players that are still going to want to transfer by the end of the season, we are down to just 4. I thought Rashard Winton was going to get some good opportunities, but he did not, even though he was the 5th wide receiver on our depth chart.
Hey, Timu was real. Timu was real. He was a real nigga. Timu was a real nigga. That's what he did. He's a real nigga. He's a real nigga. Timu was a real nigga. He made a good ass point earlier. He's a real nigga. That's what he did. Hey baby, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, Imani? What's up? Emma. Y'all see Emma? How you doing, Emma, baby? What's up, baby?
Are we going to be successful on?
Emma and the
Rodney
bitch.
Bivens Jr. would at least help out our corner.
Emma, damn, what you be doing, Emma? Shit, you be up early, late? What you doing?
You know, I just realized that we're losing another 5-star edge due to playing time. Their deal breaker changes because they're 5-stars.
Shit, my night was good, baby. How was your night?
That's what it is. Because it was.
Shit, hey, Timu made a good point. That's what all Timu did. And the point Timu made, it was real.
It's not worth going after.
That's what his point was real.
I want to see players.
Period.
Once we start finding prospects that
I ain't gonna tell y'all what it was, but his point was real. Y'all gotta watch the stream.
I'm pretty sure all those players.
Tell them Timu watch the stream.
Try and get Nate Roberts, though. I don't think we can enter that battle late. At least to the point where we have.
Timu, tell him the stream, man. Tell him your stream, nigga. Hey, he was a real nigga. What he said, dog. Period.
Joe Smith II, too, and Kobe Foreman. Kobe Foreman could return after entering his name in the portal. I guess he's already getting some cold feet on that. You know, when it came to
Timu Gang is a real nigga.
In Oklahoma, that's where most of our transfer prospects are coming from, besides these three. That state has just been carrying this rebuild, and I think we're locked in to win out on the 5-star strong safety. Whenever you get this bug, I think you just...
Emma, what you want, Emma? What you want?
Now, unfortunately, for tight end Nate Roberts...
Emma, what did you want? How was your night? My night was good, Emma. What you doing, Emma? Why you still up? Damn, what the fuck is going on?
I feel like if we were to guess it correctly this week and then also put him on a visit, we could still be down.
What the fuck going on, baby?
Like another 15 signings.
Good night, sweetheart.
We were able to get him. But it turns out that we did.
Emma, funny as hell.
Now, we lost to LSU for both of these edges. I don't know how they were able to edge us out for both of them, but they did. Baylor took away this cornerback because they had a week 4 visit. Rice took away this guard because they had a week 4 visit. So week 4 visits in the transfer portal are extremely powerful. Of all the players that we signed, a couple 3-stars had star development, and then the 5-star strong safety did as well, who I was right about. We just had to leave him on our board, and now we have somebody with 94 speed that can grow with the program. That should raise the ranking of our recruiting class inside the top 25, which it has done. Once again, you can just see everybody coming from Oklahoma and Texas. We are doing it this way the rest of the video like planned. There are no shortcuts being taken, and I kind of feel bad for junior tight end Connor Westbrook. We recruited him in season 1, and he has just been waiting for his chance to shine, but with our new signing, he's going to have to wait another year. If I could just control the training results, he'd be a 90 overall already. I had no idea who Britton Baldridge was either, but he's gone up to star development, and he must be somebody that we've recruited. He's now an 85 overall defensive tackle.
Good night, Emma.
Roberts is our highest overall player. And I think after
okay, but good night for me, baby.
Season, Ben DeCastro's
talk to you tomorrow, baby. Good night. Good night.
Next year due to the playing time deal break. We also have a more impressive receiving core than you might have expected with Oklahoma State, just based off of how we had been recruiting. Because Kobe Foreman returned, he did not end up transferring at the end of the day. Our tight ends are solid. And for the very first time, our roster size is over the limit, so we've been over-recruiting. We currently have 31 freshmen to just 12 seniors, so we can start to recruit a lot less players, try and only get 4 stars or better, unless it's through the transfer portal. And I think utilizing redshirts could be very effective for us. Like, I don't think Dante Hedgie or our other 80 overall receiver, Marco Fayad, are going to get on the field that much, and they care about proximity to home. We might as well redshirt them for another year. I'm also realizing we might just be better off abandoning my plan to go down this strategist tree, because it's going to take us another 2 seasons to win a couple more bowl games. But by the time we do that, who knows how successful we could have been if we just had our stats boosted for our key positions a little bit longer. So what I'm doing is I'm spending all 146 coach points in the tactician tree right now. Hopefully by the end of the year, the receiver one and the running back one can also be maxed out. And to start this season, we're going to be going up against Oklahoma, playing the Bedlam again. After that, we got ranked Colorado on the schedule, but there's no other ranked teams. When it comes to some of the players we're pursuing recruiting-wise, these are the only 2 gems on our board. This one's a gritty receiver from Oklahoma, but he only has 83 speed, so he's not exactly someone I really want to get. 5-star corner, we always have to go 5-star on our board as well. That's basically the extent of it. No 3-stars this year. I feel like we don't need to get that many new guys on this team. We just have to be able to retain players. We don't really have much of a plan for retaining players anymore now that we're not going down the strategist pipeline. which means all we can do is win, win, and win. Last season, we embarrassed Oklahoma, so this year, they've been trying to get their revenge. They've played pretty well. Just the fact that we couldn't get the first down there, I'm not loving it, but we are going to settle for a field goal to take a 1-point lead. I'm trying to get them off of the field on this 3rd and 6. We've sent in a blitz, and we make the tackle. But now I've called a timeout because I'm not sure if they're going to go for it. That was the smart move. For whatever reason, if there's still about a few minutes left, the computer will punt it back to you like they're going to get it back. And technically they could, but most likely we're just going to be able to run out the rest of this block. John Denman's our backup junior running back, but he's been out here for the last few carries and he's not going anywhere. The Sooners would get us to a 3rd and 8, but if we can just pick up the first down, that will end the game. And that's what we've done. Never mind, there was an injury timeout. EA just loves to give injury timeouts out at the end of games, which means we need another. My guess, though, is they're just going to sell out for the run, and it didn't matter. It is now 3rd and 5. The Sooners could still get their stop, but we make a throw with the dude in our face. Denman comes down with it, and John ends the game. The fact that Michael Hawkins Jr. made that throw under pressure is impressive. I don't care how short and close of a pass it was. I've seen so many quarterbacks, including Alexander Bean on this game, just miss that throw. Throw under pressure is a very important stat, and his is clearly high enough. We're going to get to play against Tulsa in an FCS school, which means we should be able to skip over both of those weeks. And for Cartarius Brown to have this type of a performance against the Golden Hurricanes, I'm just really glad that we got him in the transfer portal. We actually beat Tulsa by so much more than the FCS school, 66-10. And the best part about the junior receiver is if he stays for another season, you can see his deal breaker right now. I'm not sure if he's going to, but if he stays for another season, he's going to get so much better. When it comes to recruiting, you're going to see that we're sitting in 2nd place for multiple prospects already. I'm not sure how many of these guys that we're going to actually sign. I think we got to get them on visits pretty soon. That has been our strategy most seasons, and we haven't had a visit until this one. The first game I can schedule these players for is week 7 against Texas Tech, but unfortunately, by the time that game comes, I feel like we're going to lose out on these battles already. Like Ohio State's going to win on the 5-star. When it comes to the things that we can control, though, what is that? How we perform in the games we hop into. This one at number 23, Colorado. And it's a big one for us because I think it could shoot us up inside the top 10 as long as we come out on top. Now, I'm pretty curious to compare what our best players look like versus theirs. I'd say things are pretty even, but we do have a better team. Just by a little bit, and that gives us a really great opportunity to actually win the Big 12 this year. The Buffaloes have been one of the better teams in it, so if that's what their roster looks like, then other teams are going to be far worse. This is the year that Michael Hawkins Jr. has had some really rough showings, though, our offense in general. It's currently 4th and 9, where if we don't pick this up, then the game is over. We're playmakering, and we're hoping for a big throw, but they're going to swat it. It's just been a rough day, and they hand this ball off, they cut up the middle, they're going to be just a few yards away. We can stop the run here, though, and hold them to a field goal. We just got to make this tackle. And that's when they've decided that they're going to go for it. We can't guard everything underneath. We can swat that away, though. I don't know how they managed to catch that. It looked like we were going to get to that ball first. But this is just inexcusable. For us to only have 10 points with a senior quarterback that's supposed to be having his best season yet, we've cleared out all the space for Ferguson to run to the 17. I just don't know what was wrong with this team for the first 3 quarters of this game. Not a good throw. We will see what we have on 2nd and 10. The instant rollout, letting Michael Hawkins Jr. just run, worked out. But we've been left with 3 plays to stop them, and this first run goes nowhere. We're just trying to create as much chaos as we can in here, though they decided to throw the ball. You all saw how we were playing defense there. That could have been it for us. Hopefully our zones do their job. We're just going to watch over on this side of the field, and I left him. I left him because I thought we could make the tackle in time, which we did. That came down to a 4th and inches. But they are now going to punt the ball back to us. All we need is a field goal. I can't believe that we just got that lucky. Ultimately, I made a bad decision there to take away our flag. But now we basically got this win in the bag. I'm feeling pretty confident as we roll out and throw it to the ground. We might even have a big play. That's something we have not had in this rebuild yet, is a big deep ball. Our running back was supposed to be out on a route. I don't see him anywhere. Can Michael Hawkins Jr. escape this? If Michael Hawkins Jr. escapes this, oh no. He ran out of stamina when all those defensive linemen didn't. Now we have a big play that we got to pick up. That's not open. It's not open. I blew this game. I definitely blew this game. As long as we can get Ferguson on a slant, maybe we can pick up this 4th down. It looks like he can run under that. Come on. We got enough. We got enough. This has been a roller coaster of emotions, a roller coaster because there have been so many close calls, but now we're in field goal range. And with no timeouts left, we do need to be a little bit careful. You can see how much time is left on the clock. We can't really run inbounds here. We gotta get out. Of course, Colorado is gonna try and ice us. We'll see if that makes a difference. We now have a junior kicker that we're leaning on that bar. It's shaking a little bit. No, I've sold it. I sold. He shouldn't miss this badly. Come on. After all of that, that is how we lose this game, off of a kick. I normally don't miss those either. I was just so confident, and it cost us. That is definitely going to affect the rest of our season. I think it's time that we just start to remove some of these guys from our board that we're obviously not winning. I've scheduled all 12 prospects for a visit, and I have all of their hard sells selected, so there's not much more I can do for any of those guys. That's why I decided to just sim a few weeks, see where this team is sitting. I've already clicked through now 5 commits on 4 stars. This is going to make it 6. So I thought we'd be doing very well, but instead we are 3-4, 0-4 in Big 12 play, 14th in the conference. There are numerous players that want to transfer for all sorts of different reasons, and I can't blame them. You want to know what the problem is, though? I went over to our depth chart, and it's Ben DeCastro starting instead of Michael Hawkins Jr. He got injured against TCU, which was the game after Colorado, and hasn't played since, and we've just lost every game since then. So this has been the difference maker. He might be back in a few weeks, but by then this season's already going to be over. I can't believe how much we're falling off this quickly. I genuinely believe that Ben DeCastro was the future of this team as well. I mean, his accuracy, it could be better, but it's not like it's the worst in the world. I don't understand why he's struggling so much. I am very concerned for this team. I'm actually surprised that we've been able to get as many commitments as we have with the way that we're currently playing, but that's going to do it for this class. We're only going to sign these 8 4-stars. If we can't turn this year around, I'm not even sure what the transfer portal period is going to look like for us, but what we're going to do is hop into this game against the Mountaineers. We will have to sim the rest of the season after that, but I'm just hoping that we can get back on track, because typically we can beat West Virginia. You know, with how this game has gone, it doesn't make up for what we've done the rest of the year. But I am feeling a little bit better. The fact that we're about to win 34-0 is embarrassing for them. We have found our rhythm again. Hopefully, we can just close out this season with some more success, at least make it to a bowl. And look at this defensive performance from Rodney Bivens Jr. That is the cornerback that we convinced to stay for his senior season. And I'm really just hoping that as we get to the end of this year, we can play a lot better. That is exactly how things unfolded. You can tell when Michael Hawkins Jr. came back, because we started to win games by like 45-14. Up until Arizona State, though, we were carried by our backup. And it might not have been good enough for us to even finish anywhere but mid-table in the Big 12, but we are number 17 in the country, which is crazy to me. I seriously don't understand how we're sitting this high whenever there's a team in our conference like BYU with only 2 losses. Half of the losses that we have sitting almost 9 spots lower. Either way, it's some pretty good news, but unfortunately, Lopez wants to transfer out, which I don't get because I've been trying to get him playing time. We're going to lose basically all of our best receivers. And there's not really any way to avoid it, but we've been getting them back in the transfer portal, so that's just going to be my plan again. With this being our bowl game, I could see the Spartans putting up a pretty good fight. It's not just going to be as easy as some of the last ones have been, but Michael Hawkins Jr. is back for it. He's been playing for the last couple of weeks, and he can't be happy that he had to miss half of his senior year. I imagine he saw himself playing in the playoffs, not just going through a bowl game like this, but that's a big turnover for him to have right here. We're going to need somebody to catch the corner, and if nobody does, then they're going to tie things up at 7-7. That one mistake has been most of Michigan State's offense, but we haven't done much ourselves, which is why it is so crucial that we get them off of the field on 3rd and 10. Running back's not open underneath, and they can throw it away. We're having to fight pretty hard to finish this season with a bowl win, but we almost got out there. And I'm hoping all of the motioning we did before this play can throw off the Spartans. As they chase some of those guys down the field, we're just going to take off. You might not think we need too much more, but we saw what happened the last time we tried to settle from far for a field goal. I might not feel comfortable unless we just reach the end zone in the first place, though we have a chance here with Michael Hawkins to go down. Maybe we just play this safe, hit Nate Roberts real quick, let him turn up the field, and then center things up so we don't have to deal with missing another kick that we shouldn't, though that will do it. As the time runs out, I don't think Michigan State's going to ice us. They're just going to let us end it here. And should it have taken that much to win the Raid Bowl over Michigan State? I don't think so, but at the end of the day, we get a win again. Besides going 4-8 in year 1 of this rebuild, we've been building with some pretty successful seasons. And Joshua Bragg is going to come in with elite development. We've been looking for players like this. Finally, I think that's the second elite dev of this entire video. the small class could pay off. I'm not entirely sure where we're going to put the athlete yet, but I'm more impressed that no one on our staff has ever been coached. When it comes to our season stats, you'll see where Ben DeCastro struggles versus Michael Hawkins Jr. He is just completing 9% less of his passes. I'm not sure he runs the ball that well either. Our entire running game, though, this season was a major disappointment. John Denman could take over as the starter, but he doesn't like our play style, which is all because he didn't run the ball well. Oh well, though, I'm really just hoping that we don't have that many players that try to leave early for the NFL draft, because I think someone like tight end Nate Roberts might, but he's not going to. It's just guys like Kobe Foreman. They want to transfer again, so guess who we're going to be going after in the transfer portal? We can't convince them to return, then we're just going to have to go all in. Not a single one of these players have wanted to come back so far. I don't really care for a 71 overall left guard. Then we have the guys that have graduated. I'm really hoping to see somebody like Kyron Dulon get drafted. Same thing with Rodney Fields Jr. And that's exactly how it worked out. So maybe we can get a transfer running back that cares about pro potential. Currently, if I look through this roster, Ben DeCastro is going to be the only quarterback on our team next year. When it comes to our running backs, we're going to have 3 freshmen. And we could have a real issue whenever it comes to finding quarterbacks that we could have on our roster, because we can only recruit out of Oklahoma and Texas. Fortunately, there are multiple options. Well, we know that's never a guarantee, and Kobe Foreman is not willing to consider our school this time around, unfortunately. The same thing is true for Artarius Brown, another receiver that I thought we might be able to get back during the portal. We are going to be able to go back after running back John Denman, though. I'm not even sure how good he'll end up being for us. There's a lot of other running backs I have on our board. This is what we got so far. We'll see how it plays out the next couple of weeks. Even if we're not going to get both of these quarterbacks, it seems like we should get at least one, so I'm actually going to pull the hours off of Nicholas. I feel like that's a complete waste to pick a battle there, and then we'll see if any of these other guys have us locked out already, which they all do. Just to make sure that we have a third quarterback on our roster, I've had to put a 2-star, Karma Cox. He's from Texas, so he at least fits the recruiting restrictions. We're about to just continue advancing the weeks. I've been putting some hard sells on some of these guys. It's the same type of thing I have to do every transfer portal period. Coleman Patman committing, I think that's a big signing for us. I feel like I've gotten him in a previous rebuild, and he ended up being a pretty high overall safety. There are some of these battles, though, that are literally going to come down to the wire. I don't think we're going to get Tyree John just because he's going on a visit week 4 to Oklahoma. I also have been locked out of this kid, and then for some of these other battles, I'm not sure what's going on with the color here. I've seen us lose some battles at the very end of the transfer portal period where it looked like we just had the easiest win of all time. So that's why I was confused by the color on that. UCLA did take home the halfback, though, and then Oklahoma signed the 4-star right guard and this defensive tackle. We still brought in 26 players in this class, though, and Cole actually has star development, so that's really good news. We have found a quarterback of the future through the transfer portal. He might even be our starter this next season. I'm not sure what his overall is going to come in at. I can't believe that we didn't get a top 25 class, though. It feels like every year our recruiting class ranking is getting worse. Well, Cole's a 69 overall as a sophomore, so he is definitely not going to be starting over Ben DeCastro. This is before training results. I just can't imagine that he's going to get better. Then if we look over at our running back position, we brought John Denman back to school. He entered the portal. We got him to come back with his 94 speed. But what we could also do is just move DeMarco over as a gadget receiver to running back, where he's going to be an 89 overall. We actually redshirted DeMarco Fayad last season, and I haven't been doing any of these upgrades, but as a gadget receiver, he's still progressed enough in elusiveness to where he's going to be a better running back than any options we have. After getting through training results, this is what our roster is looking like. I'm seeing many players, though, that just didn't jump up much in overall, which is pretty disappointing. At least the former 5-star safety has jumped up a good bit. But I also feel like it might just be bugged because Ben DeCastro was not an 88 overall last season, and he could still get his accuracy better. I hope he sticks around for his senior year. I think the Tactician stat boost that we currently have are really helping out this roster. We're just going to fully unlock it besides one tier. And I knew I probably over-recruited. I just didn't know that I did it by 10 players. It was kind of hard to figure out which guys I was going to cut, so I just have to really keep track of how many players might end up transferring. Currently, it says 6 will. And then another 16 want to graduate, so we need to have a class of 22 players, but no more than that. When it comes to our high school recruiting this year, I think what I've decided on is we're going to look for a quarterback. I found a gym in Denton Nielsen. We can get a quarterback here, and then for every other position, I want to get them through the transfer portal. Maybe for some 5-star like Eric Worthy, who is going to come in with 94 speed, he's worth it, especially since we're number 1 on his board, and he's from Oklahoma. But even if we can put 50 hours into 14 different guys, I feel like most of my attention should be focused on our games and winning those matchups, not just bringing in more more good players. We've reached the point where I would like to think that we have the best roster in the Big 12. It's now year 5. If we can't win with the 96 overall team, at least our conference, there's a problem. Could be a quarterback problem, could be a coaching problem, could be a roster problem. We gave up 24 points while only scoring 35 on UMass. It has me very worried to sim against Houston. But this is a game where we should be beating the Cougars, and then we can hop in against the Sooners afterwards. Ben DeCastro ended up throwing 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, where we won 41-38. I am really not liking how these first 2 games have gone. But he is who we are stuck with at quarterback, and we're just going to have to hope that at some point he figures out how to play a little bit better. The Bedlam's game of the week, college game days come here, so he's got a whole new spotlight on himself. And what we have done is we've driven down the field where we're going to score the first touchdown. I wasn't so sure how this game was going to open up, but that was just the start. Lots of points have been scored from that moment, and Nate Roberts dropped it. The stadium pulse is definitely affecting us here. I don't even know who we're throwing, but we have a senior kicker that we're trusting to get us back within a point, and I think he's going to shank this. Tyler Ancraw has not been the answer for us. He always misses big kicks. We could have a big play, though, and they just run under it. With this kid, of all kids, no. There's just no way. We had the separation and everything. Now we're down by 2 possessions. We got a lot of time back here. I mean, this is a lot of time. All for like a 15-yard game. But I don't see us coming back from being down 14 points. Our defense is not where it needs to be this year. You also might notice who's out there at quarterback. I just noticed it. It's our transfer. I've actually had to learn the hard way that I cannot say Cole's last name in videos. It will make it to where I make absolutely no money off of this one at all. So as long as he is out there on the field, it is just Cole and no. See, like, what do I say? How can I describe to you what is happening to us on this play? This kid's gonna get all the way to the 15 before he gets caught. The ball just magically deflects 10 yards back. He drops it at first, then he comes up with a catch. We lose our starting quarterback mid-game, and then we have to start a lower overall. I think we were just not supposed to win. That's my theory, at least. But Ben DeCastro is out for 4 weeks with a dislocated ankle. Injuries at the quarterback position have hurt us 2 years in a row now. Our best linebacker, Rodney Hood, is also going to be out for 2 weeks. And you know what? We're just making a quick change. We now have Cole Knight as our quarterback. He might be playing a big part in this rebuild. He's the kid that transferred in. Star Dev, of course, his accuracy, it's capped out. His accuracy is not great now. But even when it gets better, it will never be great for us. He's just going to have to take care of business the next few weeks. Then there's Denton Nielsen, who I was trying to bring in, but we have fallen down to 3rd place. Both Texas A&M and SMU already have him coming in on a visit. I've not guessed his hard sell because we didn't have enough info. What we'll do, though, is we'll make sure he comes in for a visit week 5 against Baylor. Now, unfortunately, a week later, I have some bad news. I guessed Denton Nielsen's hard sell incorrectly, which means we're not going to win this battle no matter what. He's also scheduled for a visit for something that he does not even have an interest in, playing style. And so even though Solomon Lester is not as good, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him in week 6 whenever we take on Cincinnati. They're 1-2 at the moment. I just realized his dev trade has been revealed already, though. We can see the same thing with Denton Nielsen. It must be from our coordinator, where that's the special ability inside strategist. This actually stinks so much. We have a star dev 4-star quarterback that we're not going to land, and there it is, tier 4, mind reader. Increased chance to learn dev trait of QBs while scouting. With the way that we just played against Tulsa, though, I feel like maybe the season's not lost. DeMarco Fayad had 5 touchdowns. We won 80-7, and we're about to go through back-to-back visit weeks where I'm actually scared to see what happens, so we're just going to sim over both of them. Either recruits are about to flood in, or our season is going to be over. Eric Worthy, the 5-star corner, is committed. That is a very good start, but I am not going to see our 4-star QB. We did get Solomon Lester, but he had normal development. He is from Oklahoma. He just doesn't excite me as much. Gio Pace, that's another 5-star commit that we've gotten. And we've gotten our 3rd 5-star out of Daniel, too. We lost 3 battles along the way, but I think it's safe to say the future of Oklahoma State's getting even better. I just wish we could have gotten Denton Nielsen. That one is going to sting, especially if we need a quarterback desperately in the future. We might not, though, because we've been able to beat Baylor. We've been able to beat Cincinnati, and I think we're going to hop in against UCF before we go ahead and have to sim some more games. The reason for that is Ben DeCastro is out for 1 more week before we reach our bye. I just want to make sure that we don't drop a game that we should. Assuming we take down the Knights, there are playoff hopes for this team still. We're headed to the bounce house where it looks like there isn't going to be any rain. I appreciate that. But talk about a slow offensive day. So much so, we've only scored 10 points. We have no choice but to go for it on a 4th and 8. We'll see if anybody can get open here. It's looking like we might just need to scramble. And if we can't scramble, we're going to have to set our feet, Throw it up to Nate Roberts. He doesn't bring it in, though. It's now 3rd and 6, where we're sending our blitz, and we got to knock that out. We do. This team does not look good. This team does not look like a national championship contender. We'll see what Cole Knight can do in the final 2 minutes, but I have a feeling we're going to lose. The stadium pulse is starting to get to him. We couldn't even make the hot routes out there that we wanted. And you know what the hardest part about this rebuild has been? Typically, I just get some super fast kid that I can throw everything up to. We don't have that. I haven't been able to develop a speedster. Our receiving core is no good. It is genuinely bad. Maybe we get some help from Nate Roberts, but that's about it. I want to put him on a streak here. Dove has like 83 speed, so I'm literally not even going to look over in that direction for a completion. We can still hit our slant. This is bad. I think we're just going to go with the direct snap on 4th and 1. I don't trust throwing the football. We'll cut up field. We'll take this. I can't believe when we got Cole Knight in the portal, I thought that he was actually going to be the future of this team. If we can get some time back here, I'm going to be patient, and we're going to hit that route very late. He made a great throw. I can't believe it. I was not expecting that out of him. We've let the clock run down as we just hand this ball off. And we have to figure out how we're going to get into the end zone. 11 seconds on the clock. Halfback screen. It's not there. It's just not there at all. Go down. Okay, I know we can read the screen here, but what I'm most likely going to do is just hand this ball off because the blocks are there. And I thought about doing that for the 2-point conversion as well, but now that we came out in it, I want to audible. I want to end this game here. I don't want to go to overtime, which is why they just fooled me. Did we catch it? We got it. I thought they were in man-to-man coverage or sending a blitz, just something. So I threw the slant. He was not open by the time it got there. But we have somehow come out on top of this game, and we are going to move to 6-1. I hope it's the last time Cole Knight sees the field. I think I'm going to make a playbook change as well. Florida State's hasn't been going as well for us. You know what we need? We need Dukes, because Dukes performs. Just the fact that the 10 players on our recruiting board as well, 4 of them are 5 stars. We could have 4 5 stars in this class. It's incredible to me. David Riggs is going to be coming on a visit whenever Iowa State comes to town in week 11. Ohio State's starting to catch up, but we've had a lead from him. We still have to go 2 more weeks before that, though, and this is when we got our starting quarterback returning. It looks like Ben DeCastro was able to lead us past Arizona 31-17, but our toughest game on our schedule left is going to be at number 10 Texas Tech. That's the final one I have to hop into during the regular season. It's not even a question. It's a huge game for us, and it's for who's going to be the last team in the Big 12 that is still undefeated in conference play. This is our chance to keep on rising up in the rankings as well. Currently, we're at 9. It's also a rivalry, so there's just all sorts of added things onto this matchup. There is so much that is on the line, but I just have to trust that we can give the Red Raiders a good game. Now, at one point, we went down 21-0, but we fought our way back into this one, and this is going to keep us alive as Nate Roberts brings it in. There's still 5 minutes left, and we are driving down the field looking to take a lead. It's been interesting figuring out this new playbook. There's definitely a lot of unique stuff in here that can lead to some huge games. So Ben DeCastro has certainly not been at his best either. We've been using RPOs to try and get people open. Here, Nate Roberts is going to be able to take it in as he celebrates. Don't get on the ref as well. That should probably be some sort of penalty, but it's not. They're going to use an RPO in the final minute as they've been driving. But it's really not going to get that much. 3rd and 8 now. We just got to watch for any deep routes. Running back check down was there. I'm trying to bring in pressure, and he got that out. Okay, in this situation, I decided to send in a blitz. They dumped it out, and he just spun through us. I thought we had him. I clicked off because I assumed we would make the tackle, but we did. This season has just been full of all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure how we overcome this deficit with this little time left. That's a good start, but we still have 46 yards to go. Can we make it into that window? I feel like that was a little inaccurate there, and it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us. It might cost us a playoff spot. The worst part, too, is we could have just settled for a field goal, been a little bit more conservative, and gotten like 10 more yards. We would have had that there, but we got aggressive. Well, you know what? We didn't fall very far in the polls. We shouldn't have fallen that far. I'm glad that we actually didn't. Oklahoma is currently the #1 team in the country, by the way. That makes that loss feel a little bit better, but if we want to make it to our conference championship, we can't lose any of these final games, I have to say. We were able to sign our 4th 5-star David Riggs, so I would like to think we beat the Cyclones, which we did, 52-28, but we still have Kansas State and Kansas on the schedule. It's basically just 2 Kansas schools standing between us and our shot at winning a conference championship. And I almost feel like it's best that I'm not the one controlling our team because we've only lost games that I've hopped into. You know, when I see David Madden's have a game like this for the Wildcats, I get pretty nervous, but we ended up coming out on top in overtime, 50-48. So it all comes down to one final week. I'm still not sure if we're going to be in the Big 12 Conference Championship just because we didn't play West Virginia, and I don't know what the tiebreaker is between us. But either way, if we just beat the Jayhawks, then we will be in the playoffs. Well, if the conference championship pop-up's coming up here, we must have taken them down. We're number 4 in the country, too. I feel like that's a big thing for us to take notice of. Michigan lost to Ohio State, so they fell. Oregon lost to Penn State. Up here, we got Ole Miss and Ohio State above both us and Texas Tech. And I wanted to see what the final Big 12 conference standings look like, but I've just realized that they are stuck at what they were a couple weeks ago now. This happens with the schedule sometimes. Apparently can happen with the conference standings as well. You have to restart the whole game for it to fix. It's just an annoying bug I wish was fixed. I'll keep complaining about it until it is. As you can see, we reload the game, and this is how it actually unfolded. I still can't believe that we're ranked number 4, especially because I just realized that Oklahoma fell to 10-2 as they lost to Ole Miss and Alabama. I guess our 2 losses did come against top 10 programs this season. Let's just not lose to Texas Tech 2 times in a row. I'm hoping that this time our starting quarterback can at least stay healthy for the entire game. And so far things are going pretty well as we look to end this first quarter up 14-0. We're just going to have a drag underneath that gets wide open. We find Dove. And what I've figured out in this matchup is whenever you're patient, there's a real beauty to the veer and shoot offense. It is all a numbers game, so like there, we should have probably taken advantage of them better than we did. And ultimately, defenders just have a hard time sticking with everything we got out there. We're going to hit our drag on 4th down, and look at Enrique Dove hanging on. We're really just doing anything we can to spread them out and then just run it up the middle. I'm really hoping that this elite level of offense, assuming we can all stay healthy, can just transition right on over to the playoffs. Or even one win would set up our program even better for the season after this. I took a closer look at the roster, and outside of these 5 players that want to transfer, about everybody's going to return. So if we pair that with a good transfer class, I'd love to see where this roster gets. Ohio State had a receiver that won the Heisman Trophy. We are going to have Nate Roberts winning the John Mackey Award, the best tight end in the country. But then guess what happened? We did not have a first-round playoff matchup because we're the number 1 team in the country. I don't know if I love how this worked out for us, though, because it seems like we're going to have to play Oklahoma in the quarterfinals. It is what it is, though. Just keep Ben DeCastro on the field. Obviously, his stats are not looking as good as we would like them, especially for a team that's made it this far. But DeMarco Fayad has carried this team on the ground. Then we have George Capps, who I think we just got in the transfer portal as our leading receiver. Enrique Dove is right below him. But Jataden Ferguson, he's our highest overall at an 89. He was 4th in yards. We just haven't gotten him the ball as much as we should. We've gotten star dev on one of our 5 stars. We got elite dev on the receiver. That's what I love to see. I love to see elite developments. We got another one on Roberto Miles, an 86-speed tight end. So we're going to keep on producing good tight ends here, which we actually really needed because this is the one position we don't have an answer for after Connor Westbrook and Nate Roberts graduate. I can't believe Connor Westbrook never got to be our starter. He was one of my best signings in year 1, and he's just gotten almost no action on the field unless we can find a 2 tight end set. Look at these skill caps. He didn't even reach his full potential. I find that to be a pretty big letdown, but an even bigger letdown is the fact that the Sooners have made it to the quarterfinals. I've definitely not forgotten how they took us down earlier on this season. And even though we score 40 points per game, they score even more with 42 points per game. All I wanted to do was win 1 playoff game this year. If only we could beat Oklahoma the same way we did when we brought back the Bedlam for the first time in this series. It was like 34-0. That has obviously not been the case. But look who we just found in the end zone. We got Westbrook, so we are getting him a little bit more involved. That was a big RPO to put us back in front. We still need to get them off of the field on a 3rd down, though, and we have. I also think Nate Roberts is going to get really open with this RPO. It was a little bit risky, but plays like that have been the reason that we've gotten into this position in the first place. Ferguson runs under the ball. Ferguson was pressed, and you cannot press him. He's not even that fast. He just has some really good route running. And I am so pumped up because instead of going for it on a 4th and 4, the Sooners decided to settle for a long field goal. Now, at first glance, that might not seem like great news, but we have the ball back, and they didn't score a touchdown, so that's all I care about. I don't care it's a 1-possession game still. Ideally, they never touch the football again. I think we're going to be able to hit Westbrook again as well with this type of play. We got him underneath. No one's on him. Ben DeCastro currently has 289 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He's had himself a day. But if we're going to close out this game, we will need 1 more first down. And look how open Nate Roberts is. All he has to do is run past the marker. That will do it. We ended up closing out the clock. Well, we are moving on to the semifinals. We got a win against Oklahoma. That's all I could ask for. At one point this year, they weren't considered the best team in the country. I guess we are now. We're about to have that tested against number 4 Ole Miss. And on the other side of the bracket, we got Ohio State State and Penn State. There is no looking ahead going on here, though. I know that the Rebels are going to give us a great fight. And the best part about this game is there's no pressure because I was thinking next year was our natty run. This team wasn't even built to compete for a championship this season, but that's what we've ended up doing anyways. And just with the way that we have started this game, it's looking like we're about to get there. The Rebels could lock down on the goal line here, but the way that we had them spread out with no spy, it's the easiest touchdown ever. And the longer this game goes on for, the more that all I care about is just making sure we stay in front by 14. Now, I will say, we've not run the ball as well as I would have liked in this game, but we're still getting in the end zone. And every time Ole Miss scored, we would continue to score, which has put us in this position up by 17 with 25 seconds left. They might have gotten that 4th and 1, but they never even got into the end zone, which is why we've won by 17. And all it takes is beating Penn State to bring that real national championship home. The Nittany Lions are coming off of a 28-20 win over Ohio State and the Heisman Trophy winner. And I think they're the highest overall team on paper that we've had to face this season. I still feel like Oklahoma was the best roster that we had to play, though, and how a drive like this finishes off is a really big deal where they just don't have a spy. No one puts out spies for Ben. It's nice that he's not known for being a big runner, but what's not nice is the fact that we've only scored 14 points against Penn State. With 7 minutes left, we are going to have to fight if we want to win this natty. We're going to go straight back to Nate Roberts. And as long as they've been focusing on stopping him, we have struggled, but when they leave him open, we move the ball. Eventually, we'd have to take him out, but this drive here has been going really well for us. We're going to try and hit our slant. That was a pretty aggressive play to go for. We're going to have Dub underneath. And I really don't love this look on 3rd and 6. They're going to play the RPO, but we still catch it. Okay, 4th and 4. We got routes going to the same spot, but between the two of them, one of them should be good. And I think we're in a fine spot to just punch this one in and then lean on our defense. For the 2-point conversion, we just have hitch routes all out there on the field. I trust myself to make one of these reads between the zones. And ideally, Penn State doesn't get much on this 3rd and 8, and they decide to punt it back to us, being super passive. It looks like they're trying to run. We got it. We got it. I've even called a timeout. I need them to punt. This is beautiful. Now, does it make much logical sense for them to do that here? I don't think so. They're really trusting their defense, and we are going to get to trust our offense. If everyone holds their block, this could be a major, major play. But even if it wasn't, we'll see how they play the run here, and we can always throw it. This 3rd and 2 is everything. Let's see. Are we going to have it? Oh, it's so open here. Now, since there's 2.5 minutes left, that first down doesn't fully end the game. We still need one more. But we just got a little bit closer, and we read that wrong. That was actually really bad. It's now 3rd and 9. We're going to roll out, and we're just going to scramble. DeCastro, Ben, DeCastro ends it here. I had no faith in him. I thought there was no shot he was able to win us a natty, at least not this season. But he gets healthy, and he leads us here. So Oklahoma State has a national championship. That was one of the most wild seasons I think I've experienced in one of these rebuilds. Emotions were all over the place, but we took it home, and I actually want to sim another season just to see how the roster we've built would do next year. Now, to lose our former 5-star strong safety due to conference prestige, that's pretty upsetting. Only one player we tried to convince to come back actually came back. We're going to be losing a couple really talented players. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to recruit anybody else, despite knowing the transfer portal could really help us out. Just seeing some of these training results, like Ben DeCastro getting up to a 90 overall, I'm not sure how much we needed the transfer portal. Our team's obviously going to be a 99 overall, and by the time we get to the end of the season, I'm expecting them to be in the playoffs. I'm literally just going to sim straight there, and we'll see how we do. You know, something almost went wrong with this team in season, though. If they finished the year at number 13, apparently we opened up the season with a 27-point loss to North Carolina, who finished 8-4, and then there was a loss to Colorado by 2 points to end the year. But the Big 12 was also just not as good. Texas Tech went 7-5, and we're the highest-ranked team at 13. As long as we beat TCU, though, we will be in the playoffs. And it looks like we did, but our first-round matchups against Ohio State. Just the fact this game went to overtime and it was this close lets you know how big of a difference it is when I sim everything versus when I can play some. And I basically know for a fact that simming to the very end of this season, there's no way we lift that natty a second time in a row. We did end up beating the Buckeyes 45-42, but then Miami just thrashed us in the next round. They didn't even win at all. Though Ben DeCastro threw for over 4,000 yards, he had a better season as a senior than he did as a junior, which is something you want to see. I think DeMarco Fayad got injured, though, at some point, because we had a much bigger season out of Quinshon Carter at running back. That touchdown split is nuts. We also had 3 receivers over 1,000 yards. But that's going to do it for this Oklahoma State rebuild. I was just curious how the team I built would perform with another season, since we ended up winning it sooner than I thought. And with Saturday right around the corner, you better hope that I'm not rebuilding your team next, because that means they probably had a pretty bad weekend coming up. realize was Washington State and Oregon State played twice this season. The Beavers are currently sitting at 2-9. We beat them the first time in Sim, so I'm expecting myself to handle business here. And it's kind of needed because at the moment, if I were to look at the board, you're going to see a quarterback like Johnny Price committed. He's a 3-star. I can't get that excited about him. Most of the 4-stars that we wanted ended up choosing other schools like Washington. We keep on getting deal breakers on players as well, which is why Oregon's going to be able to walk away with that prospect, though they probably would have gotten him either way. We just got locked out of Kelvin Parker. It's another 4-star that we're not going to land. I knew our odds of getting some of those players wasn't very high because they're not factoring in that the Pac-12 is going to be revamped at the end of this season, but I did think we'd get a couple more than we did. And if we want to have any chance at winning a championship in this 5-year rebuild, it is crucial that we at least become bowl eligible in season 1. I was hoping by this time of the year we'd be getting a snow game in Washington, but instead it's raining. We stop them on 3rd down. And even though rain looks great in this stadium, we're going to have a chance to return this, though, kick a field goal, and beat Oregon State. We really don't need that much. I mean, you saw what we were able to do against the Huskies earlier on in the year. This is something I think Julian Duggar can easily have success with. I was hitting triangle and that button at the same time. I don't want to talk about it. I saw a running back was wide open, but by the time I did, I was already midway throwing it to someone else. The sad thing about Washington State, too, is I was told not to talk about it, but they end up choking so much. There's an entire Wikipedia page about it. And that is exactly what just happened in this game, but we still have a minute to respond. After every single first down, it's like I'm playing with Kentucky. You get a massive Wildcat growl in your ear. I guess they are the Cougars. As you can see, pass interference penalty, it's going to help. The more I think about it, though, I should like Washington State. They're very similar to the Wildcats. I'm not a big animal person whenever it comes to knowing the differences between a Wildcat and a Cougar. They're just like cats that look vicious. I better start to lock in, though, because there's not that much time left. And if they give us space, we have a couple of timeouts. What I'm really interested in is whether or not I should go for the 2-point conversion. I don't necessarily think I should, but we have to make that catch. That would have been massive for us. Instead, it's a missed throw. We get it out quick, and we're at the 10. Now, we saw that we had issues hiking this ball quick at the end of the last game. I'm glad we got this one off. We're going to be able to scramble. Duggar gets into the end zone. And here's the thing. If I don't like the look, we still have a timeout. I'm taking a risk here, but I don't want this game to head to overtime. They're going to bring in the pressure, and we're going to have an open receiver that catches the football. Ellison gets it done against the Beavers. He is going to help us win our second Pac-12 game of the season. We went undefeated in conference play, even though we just went 6-6. Really doesn't take much with the current state of the Pac-12, but we're going to fix it at the end of the year. That is going to bring some good news as well, as that caused another 4-star receiver to come in. It's not going to mean much compared to other conference championships in this rebuild, but we did win. And I know what you're probably thinking. This is the moment where I fire the coordinators every single rebuild. I'm going to get rid of our defensive coordinator, but on the offensive side of things, I think Danny's incredible. He's an elite recruiter, and he allows us to put more points into quarterbacks. As for Jimmy Rogers himself, I've not gotten to explore the architect tree on this game very much, but it's unlocked, and if we can get down to tier 3, chance to increase a random skill cap on each position is big. I feel like the coaches don't progress their levels fast enough on this game, though, so we'll see if having that setting on fastest changes anything. For now, we're just going to see that Byron Brown won the Heisman Trophy for USF, so I love to see that as someone who used to live in Tampa, and our bowl game is going to be against Alabama? This is ridiculous. Why would they draw us up against the Crimson Tide? How did they expect us to go in and win? We've been set up for failure here, but we're going to give it our best attempt. And here's the thing. I couldn't move the ball against smaller schools this season. Did you think I was going to do it against the Crimson Tide? As for our defensive coordinator options, I don't know how and why we're able to get Luke Fickell, but we are going to try and hire him. It looks like he has decided to come to Washington State. The entire coaching carousel in this game still needs to be reworked. There are so many players at risk of transferring, by the way. I can't blame them, though, if they wanted to go somewhere else. And Boise State made it to the playoffs. That's a team that's about to join our conference. It is going to be looking pretty rough for the Cougars next season. Just going off of the fact that we had at least 30 players graduate, it might be upwards of 40. And then we knew that another 20 players were going to transfer no matter what. At the end of the day, though, a lot of them just had normal development anyway, so even if we don't get any of them back, I'm not going to be upset. Before we hop into the transfer portal, we have to see what areas of this offense we're going to have to address. Julian Duggar stuck around. He decided he did not want to leave yet. Our conference prestige was good enough for him, and I think he had a pretty good freshman year. Obviously, the fear being with Washington State is he's just going to transfer out eventually. That could still happen. Luckily, Leo is not transferring out either because this sophomore running back cares about playing time. He's an elusive bruiser. He can get the shifty ability, which would be incredible. 86 speed, not the best in the world, but he has a couple years to improve. And if you were to look at our top 4 receiving targets, all of these guys are going to be leaving this team besides Devin Ellison, who didn't transfer out even though his deal breaker was not met. That was my favorite receiver that we had, so that's some good news there. As we go to the portal period, we picked up another 4-star. And honestly, we were able to get more than I thought. We signed 5 of them. We still could have a huge portal period as well. We got a kicker and punter for the future. We also have Luis Cooper, a 4-star contested specialist from Kentucky that I think we're going to get, but we have a deal breaker here. Had to take him off of the board, but looking at all these transfers that are available to us, there's a couple 4-stars. The rest of them are going to be 3-stars. Malachi Nelson would be very interesting at QB. I'm not sure if I'm going to target him yet or not, though, and as I look through a lot of the deal breakers on players interested, unfortunately, it's stuff that's not going to be able to rise much, and that means we can't go after a lot of these kids. At the end of the day, though, I decided if they're going to be a senior, then it won't matter what their deal breaker is. We only need to keep them around for a season. I also ended up going a little bit heavy on those 2 4-stars, plus Malachi Nelson. We'll see how that pans out, and all these other prospects that we have on our board, there's no talent. For a lot of them, their deal breaker is championship contender. So I'm definitely betting on us in the future. As you can see, for some of our top prospects, only one of them we're in first place for. I think Titus would be a great add. For a lot of these players, I'm also able to remove the hours that we're putting into them so we can put those hours in other places, hopefully allowing us to win some of these battles. For example, now we have a chance at getting Jacobs. By the time that signing day has come, it's probably going to look like we've gotten a ton of prospects. But along the way, there were some battles that we lost that are really going to sting. Now, I might be overreacting because we can still do fine without a 3-star transfer receiver. I just didn't think Buffalo was going to beat us out for him. Washington has always been able to take prospects from us if they want them. It's happened basically the entire season. Also, Malachi Nelson decided Arizona State was a better home for himself, but I still think our class was pretty impressive. We had 27 players in it. For a 5-year rebuild, you have to have good classes to have any chance at a championship, and it finished inside the top 33. For just a little comparison to how the rest of our conference is doing, Oregon State's was ranked 62nd, and if we look at the Mountain West, Boise State was at 43 at the very highest point. Now, for the players that we signed, if anybody stands out to me, not Johnny Price, he only has impact development, not 4-star Franklin Moon, he is normal development, but James Naylor is going to be nailing some other guys on the field because he is elite development. He's going to be a great thumper. And then Luis Copper, 89 speed, he's from Kentucky. I might just put this kid at tight end, but he could also be a really good receiver. After taking a second look at our tight end room, though, we have just 2 seniors. One of those kids transferred in, so we do not have much help at that position. We are going to go ahead and make this kid a vertical threat. And I gotta say, both Javen Jacobs and JP Powell were incredible pickups in the portal for us at running back because they are 5 speeds faster than our original starter. The fun thing about manual progressions as well is I could make some of these kids quicker if I wanted to, though I think for the rest of this rebuild after this first year, I'm just going to turn it off, which is something I might consider doing for future rebuilds as well. As nice as it is to have, it is so overpowered to be able to just go all in on one stat. Like if I wanted to get Julian Duggar's accuracy way up there, I could. Now I would like to see him get a little bit faster as well, so we're not going to max it out yet. And honestly, sometimes for the guys that I auto-progress, they go up more in overall than what I would have been able to do manually anyway. Now with our first season out of the way, we could finally, realistically, bring back the Pac-12. This is what Washington State is going to be playing in the future. And I just have to hope that this roster is good enough to be competitive in it. We're going to have an 81 overall offense with a sophomore quarterback that could keep on getting better. But because our conference prestige with the new alignment is at a B-, he is threatening to transfer out. We have to get that up to a B by the end of the season. We're also barely gaining any coach points so far, but I said I wanted to look at the architect tree, so that's what we're going to explore. We want our receivers to get additional XP for in-game balls. I'd also love for their skill caps to start to disappear. With Luke Fickell also going down the architect tree, I was thinking it would be pretty overpowered if stuff like that stacked, but he is more defensive sided. Then if we take a look at our schedule, besides number 20 Washington on there and then number 24 Boise State, unfortunately, there's no other ranked schools. So I have some high hopes for what could happen in year number 2. There are 2 5-stars from the state of Washington. Neither of them are even interested in playing for us, but this pocket passer could be the future. It is a dream to have 2 different quarterbacks from the state to choose between. Connor Childs is a gem with 95 throw power, so I would most likely rather land him, but we are going to be going after both of these prospects. Then, unfortunately, Reggie Grimm was a bust, so we're going to remove the 84 Speedster from our board. Obviously, if we can start this season with a win, that would definitely help us on the recruiting front. We ended up putting up 48 points on the Rainbow Warriors, but they scored 51, beating us in overtime, which is really bad because even if we would bounce back the next week, we should not have dropped that game. It was a really bad one to lose, but we're going to see how we can fare in the Apple Cup. Last year, we were a second away from being able to pull this off, which is why I felt confident scheduling 2 4-stars for a visit this week. We have an issue, though. Going into this matchup, Julian Duggar dislocated his ankle, and he's out for multiple weeks. That means James McCauley has been our quarterback instead, and he's not had himself an incredible day. On 4th down, he misses the target. And as time winds down in this one, I just don't think we're going to pull off a comeback. We have not had any luck in this rebuild so far, which makes me think I'm not winning at all. It also has me aware how important it is that we get some defensive stops to even stand a chance, and on 3rd down, they dropped it. To pull this one off, we are literally going to need a miracle. That was almost a bad throw. And for whatever reason, they are dropping their safeties way back, but I'm going to try and split this cover 3 with that decision. We'll definitely take it. Our halfback screen got us out in space, but we have not done much with it. And we'll see if we can thread the needle on 3rd and 12. We had somebody open there, but our offensive line did not give us enough time. They're giving us enough time on this play, but I tried to throw it over that zone. It wasn't going to be possible. We had to get to the marker. Whenever you pass lead with a backup quarterback, you don't have much success, and that means we're 0-2 versus Washington in this rebuild. I said I wanted a winning record versus them, but that is seeming less and less likely. You also are just going to know that so many players want to leave, and I just know that we're also going to lose this game at Arizona. There's no way we win in Sim. We really need somebody like Connor Childs to commit and give us a chance, so we're going to be hard selling on him. We should also schedule him for a visit against Utah. That game is going to be a crucial one for us, and I'm actually shocked that we pulled this one off against the Wildcats. Julian Duggar is still out for 2 more weeks, though, so he's not going to get to play against the Miners. We're also missing our starting running back, Jaden Jacobs, so it's not looking great. We are going to get locked out of one of these 2 quarterbacks just off of the deal breaker anyway, so we're going to remove the pocket passer, all in on Connor Childs. I am going to have to start parting ways with guys that we're clearly not going to get, though. Like Oregon's always going to beat us out for a prospect, especially when we lost a visit week. Headed into this one, UTEP's up 54 overall, and they haven't won a single game, which makes me question why I'm even playing it, but I think it's going to be worth it. Just the peace of mind of knowing that we are doing all that we can to secure the 4-star quarterback is a big deal. I mean, we should be running away with it, and that's exactly what this one has been for us so far. Though, a bad throw is going to cost us the first touchdown that we're going to give up unless we can stop this corner short. That should have been another score. Like, even Alexander Bean would have hit that throw. At least at the end of the day, we won 38-17. It was unfortunately not an impressive enough win to get Connor to commit. He is extremely close, though. We just cannot have Washington forcing a recruiting battle next week, which is a real possibility. I'm extremely nervous, but we're just going to simulate this week, hope for the best. Utah State's 18 overall's worst. We should not lose. And on the other side of this, I was expecting it. Connor Childs has committed to Washington State. We have another great potential Cougar QB. Hopefully this one uses Cash App more than Venmo. That'd definitely be nice. We don't want our quarterback potentially gambling or anything. Julian Duggar, by the way, isn't going to be happy about this signing, but here's the thing. I think we max out his accuracy, and then his overall gets high enough to where he wants to transfer out after a year, and he finds himself a better home. It is just the way of the Washington State QB. A couple of these 3-stars, by the way, are gyms, which is why I have them so high up on our board. We can't beat out Colorado for this kid. We did get a 4-star gadget receiver from Texas, though, David Lawrence. These are the types of guys I like to turn into running backs. And if you look at the bottom of our board, we're also giving ourselves a chance to sign multiple other 4-stars, though Illinois is going to give us a fight for this one. Listen, I have to do anything I can to try and save Washington State. So this is the filter I just look around at. I see if any of these players have interesting deal breakers that we could work with. And coming off of a 41-13 conference win over Utah State, State, I'm starting to like the Pac-12. Whoever decided adding Texas State was a good idea has gotten us an opponent that is 0-6, though I think these two teams share more in common than you might think. When I was doing my research on Washington State, there was lots of stuff about drinking, and then I saw something on Twitter today that Texas State as a college town has the most bars in the state of Texas. Those kids don't care that they just lost a heartbreaker 29-28. They're still going to have a good time this weekend. Fresno State 1-6. That's going to be another game that we can sim. I'll probably play against Boise State. It just makes the most sense. They're one of the teams that are still undefeated in conference play, though San Diego State's also one of those two. Just taking a quick look at the Bulldogs overall, though, this game might not be a freebie, which is why it was crucial for Hudson Clement to have a big performance. We brought that kid in during the transfer portal period, and the reason our receiving room looks so good at the moment is because most of these guys came in as transfers. Here's the thing, though. San Diego State is our next opponent, and this is a team that I was not personally able to beat. So I can't say it caught me off guard when I noticed that we lost to the Aztecs by 3 points. Boise State was another team that lost last week, though, and this isn't a great thing because if we're going to elevate the level of our conference, we need them to have good seasons every single year. Currently, the new Pac-12 isn't looking like anything special. I should also point out that we have been locked out from both of these four-star corners because our cornerback playing style dropped over the last couple weeks. It's just really frustrating to see because if that didn't happen, the class that I'm currently putting together would be extremely solid. Now we head to Boise State, though, where this is one of the biggest games that we've had in this rebuild so far. I can't afford to lose it. If we don't make it to the Pac-12 championship, our team prestige will probably continue to drop. And this is such a bailout from a bad throw. We already know that we have a future past Julian Duggar, though. He might not even be on this team next season. We're trying to get in a little bit of a halfback screen. The problem, though, is they just completely locked it up. I mean, I don't know what else I could have done there. We're going to roll out to the left and try and scramble with him. He is going to get us the opening touchdown. And with the way our defense has played this one against Maddox Madsen, I think we're going to be able to close it out. He might have gotten that ball out fast, but now they only have 3 receivers out there on the field. And even after scoring that touchdown, they still have to be able to get the ball back, which is not looking likely as we bust off a big one. The crowd here has fallen silent. And Vola Lassie is just going to keep on taking these carries. He has gotten us on a 3rd and 6. First down here, ends the game. We look over, and we find Ellison going down the field, staying in bounds. That is why we love Devin Ellison. We have already been able to win more games this season than we did last year. I've already hopped into 3 regular season games, which means I have to simulate these last couple. And for the longest time, I thought we were just going to run away with this athlete power rusher, but out of nowhere in the last 2 weeks, Clemson has taken him away. We ended up making it to the Pac-12 Conference Championship game, though. San Diego State's ranked 14. I can't believe it either, since they're currently sitting at 9-3. 3 of their losses, I'm curious, they came against number 3 UCLA, UNLV, and San Jose State. They don't really have a strong strength of schedule. We don't either, though. We're lucky to even be in the Pac-12 Conference Championship because we took down Boise State. We actually lost to Oregon State to end the year. This score doesn't even make sense to me. We had a good offense all year, and then we put up 6 points. We held them to 7. It looks like Duggar did not play well. You know what, though? As long as we're in this game, I guess that doesn't really matter much. What I just realized, too, is we could win the Pac-12 championship in every single season of this 5-year rebuild. We already won it last year, and theoretically, from this moment, we should only be getting better, though we're going to have to make a play on the ground. Only up by 4 currently. I've been trying to see if there's any routes Julian Duggar could take for some big gains, but it's really been a lot of checkdowns. Neither offense has really played that well, but they bring in a blitz, we set our feet, and we are able to score again. San Diego State has never gone away in this matchup, though. On 3rd down, they take an underneath route, and they're going to be at the 10-yard line. We did not have the coverage stats to guard them there, and there's a gaping hole. We're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive if we're going to stop the run here. I'm going to bring in an extra guy to the box, which is going to make the difference. What a play. With a few minutes left, we're going to have a 2-point lead, and we're just going to hit our running back underneath. They decided not to guard him. Actually, I think that was one of our receivers. Anyway, 3rd down. I see our best guy getting open. No shot. They hit them with another PI flag because we just got unlucky with a bad pass. I feel like I've run into so many of those in this rebuild already. We're going to pick up the first on the RPO. And I'm going to be honest, what do you want them to do against this formation here? If they guard the run, we're just going to go out And that's going to allow us to pick up another 25. From there, we'd close things out by scoring another touchdown in the final seconds. It's pretty sweet that we get to take this trophy home again, and this time it feels like we actually earned it. I want to say so far this is a solid start, but remember, we only have 5 years to win a national championship. That time restriction always gets me caught up in these rebuilds. We'll see if we can overcome it. We are going to be playing Notre Dame in our bowl game. We cannot get an easy bowl. It doesn't really matter, though. On early national signing day, my focus was going to be in a completely different spot because we can see some of these depth traits, and it looks like we've got star on a couple of corners. Connor Childs is also going to have star development with his 95 throw power. We seriously have to make sure that he never transfers out on us. Notre Dame averages 11 more points per game. Is this going to even be close? I am afraid that I already know the answer to that question as we head in. And with 2 minutes left, we are in a spot where we have to score 17 points to come out on top. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just highly unlikely, which is why I wanted to throw up a jump ball. Clicking on and making a play for that did not work at all. Do not return this, please. I'm not really upset about it, though. Once again, we just got really unlucky with our bowl draw. If that Notre Dame team managed to lose one less game, they would have been a part of this college football playoff. And progress is important. It's really hard to tell if Julian Duggar had a better season or not, just because he threw for less passing touchdowns, his interceptions were about the same, but he played in less games. And then on the rushing side of things, Leo actually took a major step back, because last year he had 15 rushing touchdowns. As for Devin Ellison, he was our #1 receiver 2 years in a row. The senior has got to go, though, along with some of our other top receiving targets, all 4 of them. It makes 6'4" Parker Livingstone potentially our best receiving target next season, but the thing about the sophomore is he might end up transferring out before that can happen. Apparently, our playing style wasn't good enough for him, but there's so many different players that could leave us, like Julian Duggar could too, that I'm not too worried about him leaving. Maybe I should have been, though, because the chance to convince him to come back is extremely low, and that means he is gone. Same thing with Julian Duggar. We didn't even get an extra season out of him. We saw that freshman quarterback, and he's all we're going to have. I mean, J.P. Powell's probably not going to stick around either. That could have been our running back of the future. Unfortunately, we're just going to lose talent. Not a single player I tried to convince to stay ended up staying. Graduation-wise, we ended up losing a lot of really good starters there too. At least we put a receiver onto the NFL. That will help us. But I'll say this, it feels like we're basically starting over from scratch because we just lost our entire offense that got us to 9-5. I'm going to have to sit here, factor in what our roster will look like next season, consider that anyone that's a senior on the View roster tab right now isn't going to be here, but just looking at the pure numbers we have, this is not going to be a big team. I'm actually terrified at the moment. This portal period almost has to be perfect. The corners we're not going to be able to sign, so we had to remove them. And since we clearly have a need for defensive tackles, there's going to be some big names there that would like to sign for us, but I just realized we have 0 tackles and guards, so we're going to have to pick up the slack at that position too. The hardest part about this portal period is I could get someone that's ranked in the top 150 of the transfers, but if you look at his deal breaker, our brand exposure at Washington State can only go so high. And I would love for every player I sign from this point to be on our team in Season 5, so I'm going to have to really sit here and plan for how I want to construct this team for the future. The best I've been able to do is try and build out a board with as many freshmen as possible, so after these highly rated 4-star transfer prospects, you're just going to see a lot of freshmen. These guys are interested in our school, so I'm hoping we can offer a scholarship and get them without putting any hours into them. The farther I get down my board, though, you're going to see I have to increasingly put more and more points into some of these kids because they have no interest in our school off of the rip. It is also very obvious to me that there are some massive team needs, like our offensive line is getting completely wiped out. I'm going to have to fill a lot of those holes. I'm probably going to be moving some edges over to defensive tackle, and to even have a grasp on which of those transfers we have a chance at signing, I have to be able to sim another week. Once I'm able to see what players we're going to have a lead on, what players we're going to struggle with, I'm going to have to readjust our board. And what it's caused me to do is go all in on freshman defensive tackle Jordan Crawford, as he is going to be young, and we could also hard sell on him. Getting that hard sell wrong, though, would mess up everything. As you can see, we are going to get pretty lucky with 5'6" receiver Miles Coleman. All it took was 5 hours to be able to pull this guy off. A lot of these players we don't have to put many points into. Though for some of them, I can tell that other schools are going to be more competitive, so I'll continue to add some more hours. It really stinks to see some of these guys that we're going to lose out on because I wasn't able to put 50 hours on everybody, but it's better to find that out in week 1 and then readjust. Just returning over to the recruiting board, now we can be smarter about seeing guys like Marcus Steele, a defensive tackle that we need, that nobody else wants to get. This guy could make a big impact as a senior. But there is something I guess I never really noticed until now. I could sort by previous team here and find all of the players that are still in the portal that wanted to transfer from our school and then re-recruit them. You could argue that's not the smartest thing I've ever done, since they transferred out for a reason, but I wanted Parker Livingston to stick around. It's also come to my attention, I guess Jordan Crawford's hard sell incorrectly, which means by the time that we switch it up, and this is correct, I don't think we're pulling off the comeback. You just hate to see it, and then all of a sudden, on one of our receivers, Miles Coleman, we just started losing the battle. So that's one of the issues. If you're only putting like 10 hours a week into a player, you could always end up losing them. We also aren't going to get Parker Livingston either. SMU wants him, so we're going to take some of these guys off of our board, just readjust where our hours are at again, so we can spend them wisely. During the transfer portal period, my only goal is to sign a full class, so anytime I can tell that we're going to lose a battle, I'm going to have to remove those players just so we can continue to fill up our board. And I think sometimes my obsession with signing a full class of 35 players can sometimes lead to us getting a few too many guys that we didn't need. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, we know some of these players are going to end up transferring anyway, so we want to get as many in as possible. And I wasn't too impressed with the depth traits I was seeing on these transfers until I found back-to-back star devs and then elite development on Jamal Conrad. You know, to my surprise, we actually ended up having a lot of star dev players in here. I think we had like 10 total in this class. So we got pretty lucky on that front, even if it's saying that this one is ranked almost 10 lower than what we had last season. I still believe this class is better, and it's not even close, because Connor Childs is coming in as an 80 overall freshman QB. Then we have an incredibly young and deep receiving core. We need guys like Malik Clark to progress really well with his 94 speed. He transferred in. We also got a second good running back, Devin Roche, in the transfer portal. The big challenge for me now is going to be figuring out how I want to move around these players. We definitely needed more defensive tackles on this team. That's why I signed a lot of edges. Defensive tackles were just harder to find. So we have a couple good options that we can move around to that position as well. The pure power archetype seems to convert without the overall dipping at all. I know our linebacking core isn't going to be the best in the world, but we got a guy like James Naylor. And this training results period is a big moment of truth for us. It's nice to see that Roche, the transfer running back, upgraded his depth trait, even if he's not with us for long. It definitely assisted in his progression. Courtney Beinstow was the freshman running back with star development. He's got 89 speed already. I love to see that. Our whole roster itself, it is looking really nice. But because I'm not controlling how fast these players are increasing their overall, they're going to transfer a lot quicker because they're meeting these deal breakers that I have zero control over. So now we're really going to face the problem that Washington State faces in real life. Are we going to be able to maintain this good of a roster through these final 3 seasons? Our schedule is once again looking pretty light, but we need it to, or else we're not going to be able to maintain some of these players that we've recruited off the championship contender. I'd also like to note that the new Pac-12 is not the 5th highest rated conference. In fact, we are rated below the American Conference at the moment. So that's really unfortunate. I was hoping that we'd get some more respect. The prospects from Washington this year are not looking that good either. Only one of them will even consider our school. I truly believe that throughout Connor Childs' career, I'm going to be able to surround him with some pretty good players. He has no skill caps on power, accuracy, IQ, elusiveness, which is just incredible to see. He's going to be a great quarterback. I'm definitely going to try and get him more pieces around him outside of wide receivers this year. So offensive linemen, halfbacks, tight ends. Antonio Rainbolt was a gem. He cares about proximity to home with 94 speed from Oregon. But then there's 5-star DeJuan Grimes, and he's a north-south receiver. This is an archetype at running back I typically wouldn't go for, but he is 88 speed, and he's from Nebraska, so if they don't want him, then we're going to get him. That's the basic rundown of the class I'm trying to put together, though we got locked out of some players pretty early on. That doesn't bring me down too much, though. I am extremely excited to get into this next season because we should start with a couple of wins. I think we play Air Force after this. And then you know what I'm going to care about, the Apple Cup at Washington. Look at what our defense has done through these first 2 games, though. We have yet to give up a single point. I know that it's a very small sample size early on in the year. It's just crazy to see that as an average when you look at the team stats. All that has me feeling pretty good about this season so far. But this is the game that we have not been able to win, and I'm hoping that Connor Childs can change that. I will say the freshman is not off to a great start in this one. And the shadows in this stadium look terrible. This is just one of those situations where I know dynamic lighting is cool. I know that having the realistic stadium lighting is neat. but this is blinding unless you're on that side of the field. It finally got better by the fourth quarter, but by that point, the damage had already been done. We've been struggling playing on the road, though we're going to get this handoff out to Rochi. He's going to get a huge carry for us here. And Devin Rochi has taken over as the starting running back, but we just fumbled it. We just fumbled it. They're getting a touchdown. Just like that. I mean, that guy could not have been picked up by a blocker. There's no way. Watching it back, though, it was a really good blitz. They sent an overload to this side of the field, and we only picked up two of the guys. We couldn't get that one, too. I thought the blocking was going to look atrocious there, which would have been a lot more frustrating, but it actually looked pretty good. And with the halfback screen, we're near midfield. I really don't want to give up on this one yet. We're just going to scramble to make sure we move the chains. But after taking a sack on the next play, I'm not sure it's really going to matter. We can't make any hot routes. Their defense is playing us pretty well, and I mean, that's a terrible read. Terrible read. I don't know what I'm thinking there. We are literally just not meant to beat Washington. I can't keep watching them lift the Apple Cup. That was a really frustrating result right there. Now we have to head on the road to play an SEC team, though our overall just went up. I don't know what's up with that. I'm trying to figure out who ended up getting their overall to increase after that last game, and I can't figure it out. That is the one benefit to having auto-progressed players on, though. For whatever reason, if you turn this off, then your players won't progress throughout the season, gaining skill points. I don't really get that. If you look at this prospect right here, the 4-star tackle, Georgia just entered the battle with their 5-star pipeline, so I can basically guarantee we're not going to get him. But for a lot of these players, we are in some tight battles. Even Antonio Rainbow, we're going to need to win our visit against Texas State whenever they get here in week 7. I don't think Nebraska is going to let up on a 5-star from their state, though. And after beating Vanderbilt by 21 points, seeing our offense flourish, we have to go on the road at Arizona, another one of our tougher games before we get into our conference play part of the season. Just to make sure we finish our non-conference slate at 4-1, I would like to play the Wildcats. But the last time I hopped into a game against a former Pac-12 school, you all saw what happened. Everything, and I mean everything, went wrong for us. Thankfully, that has not been the case here. We are able to get into the end zone. But here's the thing, after our defense gave up a touchdown as well, Connor Childs is going to need to pull off a miracle on 3rd and 13. And that was a great throw. We could also be running the ball as well. Devin Rochi, despite being tiny, is definitely hard to bring down. And I feel like our offensive line has been doing a good job. You know, the second that I say that, we jinx it all. But we are able to hang on to it with Ansah. And from that point, we're just going to keep on running the football. Once we get into the end zone, going up by 10 points, that'll pretty much seal this game. And I really have been happy with Connor Childs so far. The real fear I have, though, is this kid's going to find a reason to leave Washington State before season 5. And the longer we get into this season, the more I'm just pulling out of battles I know we're not going to win in the long run unless we get lucky with the visit. I also have to take the running back from Nebraska off of our board, hoping that we get Antonio Rainbow. There's just so many of these players where a hard sell isn't going to be effective, and we know the bigger school's eventually going to take over. This game against the Bobcats is a big deal for us since we have so many guys on a visit, and there are 57 overall. If we were to lose that game, it would be a major problem, but just off of the fact that the 4-stars are committing, I can predict that we probably won. It was a 26-point victory. If we look at the rest of our schedule, Boise State's going to be the team we want to play. Maybe it's Colorado State, but we're just going to have to sim up to this point. The Pac-12 has definitely not been that impressive so far. When we compare it to the American Conference, they don't have any ranked teams either, but we know that their conference prestige is higher. And it's going to be interesting to see where this team is sitting at a few weeks into the future. Well, we just kept on winning. Not that they're impressive wins, but at least we took care of business. Boise State is also ranked by this point, but Colorado State's sitting at 7-2. Plus Oregon State's sitting at 6-3. All 4 of us are undefeated in conference play. The other 4 teams in the Pac-12 are all sitting at 0-4. I don't think I have ever seen this happen before. What it means, though, is I have to choose wisely for which game I want to hop into, and I think it has to be this one. Boise State is obviously the highest overall team that's still on our schedule. It is safe to say that they still weren't much of a problem for us. We're able to throw for another touchdown here, but there's a flag. It's unfortunately coming back. But Connor Childs has already thrown for 4 touchdowns in this game. I want to get him his 5th, which we almost had. He has had such a good game, but they're getting off the edge quick, making it 4th and goal where we're just going to have to throw up a 50-50 ball and hope that we hang on to it. Like I said, Boise State was not as good as I thought they'd be. Maybe we've just done really well in recruiting, but I am expecting us to finish this season 11-1. Connor Childs has seriously been a major difference maker for us. But all that success has still led to us losing a couple of recruiting battles. We're not going to beat out Ohio State for a prospect. We knew LSU was probably going to win that one. Those things do not bug or surprise me. What I'm a little bit worried about, though, is what happens when we sim to the end of the regular season. Are we still going to be on top of our conference? I set the bar high with the expectation that we would be, and it turns out we beat Colorado State and Oregon State pretty easily on the road, so we're playing the Broncos again. We actually have a chance to get into the college football playoff. All we have to do is take them down, unless there can be a group of 5 conference champion that gets in. Tulane has a worse record than us, though. So I think we're in the clear. We win this game, we're going to get Washington State into the playoffs. We are now going for the Cougars' 3rd straight conference championship. Dropping this one would be a major disappointment. But so far, this one has not gone the way that I thought it would, which means we need to close out this first half with a touchdown. That was a big deal because, as you can see, in the final few minutes, we are down by 3, but we still have a fighting chance, and this is where we might just try and make a play with the 87 Speedster, see if it can do anything for us. I don't know what the computer is going to choose to progress on him, but I do hope it's more than just accuracy. I would love to have a quarterback that makes big plays for us on the ground as well as through the air. We threw that one back shoulder because I knew that corner couldn't see the ball was coming, and it worked. Malik Clark's a monster for that one, but what surprised me was with 2.5 minutes left on a 4th and 1, they decided to punt the ball back to us. I don't know why they didn't go for it, but a couple first downs will literally win us the game now. Connor Childs is looking pretty slow, but either way, we are on our way to taking home the Pac-12 championship. We just need this RPO to work out in our favor, and I might have needed to throw it. Luckily, even though I gave them an incredible opportunity, they haven't done much with it yet. But converting that 4th and 14 is a pretty big deal. If we're going to win this conference championship, we have to lock up in this final 50 seconds. Of course they get out of bounds. You just know the computer's going to go off in this situation. I mean, they're making our guys look silly. And nothing frustrates me more than getting dotted up by a kid that wears both gloves. The worst part is they still have 1 timeout left as well. They got this one out very fast. But that's the first thing that's gone right for us because they used the timeout. What are you doing? Why are you guarding the back of the end zone when there's someone right there? I need to know where forward's guarding. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, what are we looking for here? You just gave it up. That's probably going to cost us this Pac-12 championship. I mean, we're not getting anything. They're handling this very smart. They're backing their guys up, and we're going to try and roll out and throw above the zone here. It actually worked. We find Conrad. He's going to get up bounds. I would like to get some more yards here, though. And why don't we take the scene? This might be really dumb to call a play in the final 5 seconds instead of just kicking our field goal, but I'm curious. Can we throw for it? We do, and we're going to pull off the comeback to win the conference championship despite having given up one like 20 seconds ago. What a game, man. This is the best Pac-12 championship we've ever won. That felt great to close it out. And the best part about all of it is it should put us in the college football playoff. One thing I've noticed, though, is even with all of this success, there's a lot of players that are going to be entering the portal at the end of the year. It's what we expected. It just makes it very challenging to win it all with Washington State. Dante Moore took home the Heisman Trophy. I'm sure the Ducks are going to be in the playoffs, but we're going to get the brooms for our first game. Of all the schools we could have played, that's probably the best matchup we could have gotten, but Oregon is next up in the quarterfinals. And I have noticed, I never look at the All-American list on this game for whatever reason. I always checked it out on my NCAA Football 14 rebuilds, but even after running the Pac-12, we didn't have that many guys on the first team. Not sure what's up with that. Connor Childs didn't throw for as many touchdowns as I thought he did, but he had almost 4,000 passing yards. He rushed for 540 yards, 7 touchdowns too. Devin Roche's going to be missed as well as a 1,000-yard rusher with 12 on the ground. He could have been a little bit faster. That did not get maxed out. It would have made him even more of a beast, but look at Trent Conrad. He is a freshman going off, having 1,000 receiving yards. Malik Clark was the junior transfer with 900. Those are numbers I love to see, but we lost our offensive coordinator with the amount of offensive success we had, so we're going to have to find another. I really don't think that's the end of the world. Blake Anderson is perfect because he is just a full-on tactician, so he's going to boost up our offensive stats. As for early National Signing Day, we might as well see what depth traits some of these 4 stars have. I would love to see elite or star if they're going to develop to be anything for us by the time we get to that final season, and Antonio Rainbow is exactly that. We have 2 good running back options that are going to develop for us in the future that are young on this roster. It's about time that we get into the game of the week, though. And I know this isn't going to be College Game Day, but one interesting fact about Washington State is their flag is always flying at College Game Day. I think that's one I skipped over. To end this first half, it is all tied up at 7, but we are going to try to get in. I didn't want to settle for a field goal, but that might have been a mistake. We are just going to force this one to our slant, and he's in bounds. We have no choice but to try and get off another snap. We gotta snap it. Come on. Snap the ball. Snap the ball! There is nothing more frustrating than being at the line and not being able to snap the ball. You'll have seen it happen multiple times. And not getting any points there is going to greatly affect us in this game because with 6 minutes left, we're currently down by 2 possessions. Comebacks are still possible, though. We're going to see if we can thread the needle to our tight end here. If not, we're just going to scramble. The 2-point conversion's a little bit more difficult, though. We're going to see if we can beat the press on the inside with a slant, which we could, but they had someone else hanging out over there. Then UCLA scored again. I threw an interception. They would kick a field goal too, so they have been able to get a lot of points in a row. Basically meaning unless we get pretty lucky, we don't have much of a chance in this game. There's another fumble. There's another fumble. We just can't hang on to the ball. That's Connor Child's weakness. These strip sacks this season have been driving me insane. We just got blown out. At least it was still a really good season, though. UCLA was actually good enough to make it all the way to the semifinals. And I just realized we have 80 coach points that I could be spending in the architect tree, but I don't know how powerful getting tier 2 is. I think limitless on defensive backs would also be nice. We already got it for receivers. For the rest of these coach points, though, it's time to go to tactician. It is that point in the rebuild where we need to make sure we have the best team possible out there on the field. So we always take the stuff that's going to boost up the most players first. This is going to work on our offensive line. Our defense is max. Then we have Blake Anderson, who helps out on our offense. With Luke Fickle as our defensive coordinator, I don't think he's doing too much here, but that'll definitely help next season's team. Just look at all the players that are going to potentially leave our roster now. I mean, Jeremy Kumar could have been one of the best offensive linemen for us this entire rebuild, but our playing style was just not good enough for him, so he's gone. We also have to keep in mind players like Devin Roche, Michael Smith, our 86 overall tight end. He is gone as a graduate. He didn't get an NFL opportunity. I always find that pretty interesting. We have a lot of persuasions, though, so we're going to hopefully get lucky. We basically won over none of these guys. I'm not going to get excited about a 74 overall linebacker, but apparently, despite not being our starting running back, Leo Pululasi ended up getting drafted in the 7th round. With a successful season, our team prestige has also raised up to 3 stars again like it was at the beginning. So that should definitely help us out in the portal. I find it funny that players like James McCauley would be willing to transfer back to the team that they left in the portal. I just think that's neat. Compared to last year, we definitely don't have as many needs on this team, but we only have 1 running back currently besides the couple that are coming in, Courtney Vines. So I'm definitely going to have to fill some holes there. For the players that transferred out as well, you know that we're going to try and sign Jeremy Coomer again, even if we don't start inside his top 10. I do find it really frustrating that now his deal breaker as a recruit is B for play style when he transferred out because we didn't have B plus play style. It just shows that he's looking to go to a bigger program, though. That is the state of college football. After a week of recruiting, I can figure out pretty easily the players that I should have been putting hours into that I thought I didn't have to. And as the weeks go on, I can see some of these battles we're not going to win, and some of them are going to be extremely close. Even though we're coming off of a playoff appearance, I can understand why we lose some of these battles to Power 4 schools. The only one that would frustrate me is if we lost it to Washington. So I better not see that W logo as we scroll through our board. Ole Miss is taking this kid, though, and of course, they got the transfer defensive tackle. I wanted him, but he wasn't a necessity. We still filled some holes in our team that we had, and we signed a top 25 class. There is definitely a problem, though, with the fact that guys like James Naylor are already at 95 overall. We're not going to be able to keep some of these kids around, maybe even Connor Childs, if they keep on progressing like this. Fortunately for us, Connor Childs' deal breaker is playing time, so he shouldn't transfer out despite being really good. 97 throw power now. And just take a look at some of these jumps that we're seeing with this auto progression. Adrian Daniels went up 10 overall. With a clearly much better team than we have had any other season before, I was expecting more players to be at risk of transferring out at the end of year number 4. But we might be able to have back-to-back really good seasons to end this 5-year rebuild. I don't think I'm really going to worry about recruiting high schoolers either unless there's some studs from Washington. There was a 5-star quarterback. He just doesn't want us. And here's the thing. Somebody like Randall Bacon might be a gem. He might have 91 speed and a 50-50 ability, so we'll go after him. Just the odds of him seeing the field for us next season are incredibly low. We already have so many talented receivers that are going to be playing for us. Our opening game on this schedule is against Northern Illinois, where it should be no surprise that we were able to take care of business. We did the next week as well against an FCS school, but now we have back-to-back games that I'm going to want to hop into. We still have yet to win Apple Cup, and then Oregon is a team that we almost played in the playoff last year if we would have taken down UCLA. So I figured we might as well get some good experience against them. I don't think losing to the Ducks would really hurt our ranking, but losing to the Huskies would. I just can't put these fans through another loss in this rivalry. But there's no guarantees of coming out on top. Currently, we are in a position where we're down by 7, but that is going to tie things up. We needed that right there. It's still the third quarter. But it made a big difference, especially after we immediately forced an interception. So we're getting it back, and we drop it. On 3rd and 8, we're just going to look at our halfback angle route. We're going to dump this one off Divine. And we have a field general ability on Connor Childs as well, which allowed us to know that this was cover 1, where we are going to make it into the end zone. You might even notice some fans in the backdrop taking out their fireball shooters. They were pumped up to have a lead in this game, all until we gave up a touchdown just a couple of minutes later. The good thing is we seem to be able to continue getting open versus this defense. We're going to throw right over that corner's head, go to the 10, and the air raid is working to absolute perfection at the moment. I could see Ansall getting wide open here if they go with man-to-man coverage. Since they didn't, though, we're going to try and make a play just by dumping this off. But there's a problem. Connor Childs is not in the game. Our star quarterback just got injured. On 3rd down, we might be able to make it into the end zone. Thankfully, though, it says it's just leg cramps, so he will be back in the future. That would have been crushing if he had like a season-ending injury or something. On 3rd and long, they're going to be short as well, but we'll take it because we've just been running out the clock ever since. If we pick up a first down here, this game is completely over. We're going to pitch it out to Courtney Vines, and Courtney Vines has ended it. It feels so good to finally beat Washington. This is well-deserved, and let's hope we can do the same against Oregon. For the first time in this rebuild, we're getting the game of the week during the regular season, so we got College Game Day going to Eugene, Oregon. And I'll tell you this, our flag's going to be flying there, and hopefully we're about to take home the dough. I wasn't expecting this team to be as good as it is in Season 4, but we have the guys that can route up these corners. It actually stinks that Clark's going to be a senior after this season, but he's going to be a beast for now. We can't forget either that last season, Oregon had Heisman winner Dante Moore. Now they have Julian Lewis, who must have transferred from Colorado, but he just hasn't been as good. That's been great for us, though. We're trying to close this one out. They just dumped it off, which is going to make this 3rd and 7. And I've got some high hopes here. They're not going to have that open. He's going to try and scribble, so I'm trying to send somebody, but no one went. He would inevitably get them in the end zone, but he left us a minute for us to respond, which is plenty of time, especially if we're already at midfield. That was a great start here, and we're actually going to hand it off. I wanted to see if Courtney Vines could do anything with that. I have just noticed that this is going to be cover 2, which makes me want to try and split these zones. The problem is I don't think our hot route's going to work, and they actually covered exactly what I was looking for extremely well, but we had all the time in the world. And that is what having a great offensive line can do for you, because this one's over. They can try and ice us, but this is one of the easiest kicks in the world. They're not going to block it. It is over. And with the Cougars getting this win, it's looking like we could go undefeated during the regular season. I mean, facing teams like Air Force, we're just not going to lose that. It would take a really fluky result. And look at Jason Ansah setting the Washington State single-game receiving touchdowns record in that matchup. He broke the Pac-12 record as well with 5 touchdowns. And that's taken him up to our highest overall receiver as an 89. He also has his brother on the team, Garrison Ansall, so I'm hoping both of them stick around. They have a lot of potential. Garrison cares about playing time, so we should be able to keep him. We should work on his blocking now. And then Jason, his brother, with star development, also cares about playing time. So they are very similar. His route running could get a lot better alongside his hands. And we have been able to work our way inside the top 10. After a bye week, though, we're going to have to start playing our conference games. That Air Force one was 47-0, by the way. But looking at all these matchups, Boise State's the only one I'm worried about. We're just going to go down the tactician tree, make sure our offensive line is maxed out, and then start working on our tight end and receiving stat boosts. Then we should be able to just simulate all the way to week 11. So that's what we're going to do. Sure enough, we won all of those games, with the closest one being San Diego State. This is the same thing that happened last season for us. And everything looks about identical, except there is not a 4-way tie with 4 teams sitting at 4-0 in conference play. Instead, we beat Boise State. We're going to lock ourselves into the conference championship. I also had to check the Heisman race, where I noticed they had a receiver, Cameron Bates, that is leading the way. He has 1,500 receiving yards through 9 games, 18 touchdowns. He is unstoppable. Then Oregon's Julian Lewis is up here alongside Connor Childs, who's only thrown 1 interception all season. The Heisman race is coming down to a bunch of teams in the Northwest. Hopefully, we can make a stand with this game. But playing on the road, knowing that Boise State gave us a great fight in that conference championship, they could win. If there's a team that can seem to handle Connor Childs pretty well, it's them. But that tackle just made this a massive 4th and 3. There's no way that they just handed it off either, because they're not going to win. We are just way better up front. It seems like we're going to be able to dot up their zone coverage too. And it is time for Courtney Vines to go to work as our blocking is looking solid. I've also noticed with this numbers game, we have the numbers over on that side of the field, so we're just going to go out there immediately. At some point though, the timeouts have to start coming out, and they're going to get a hand on that ball. With the first down here, we could end the game. I could tell that they were going to go with some form of cover 3, but I think we're just going to scramble for this. They weren't ready for a run out of Connor Childs. This doesn't guarantee we're going to win our 4th straight Pac-12 championship, but it's looking likely. And I guess I completely forgot about Randall Bacon. Apparently, he still decided to go to Washington. That doesn't matter too much, though. Last season, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't lose a game in Sim that we probably should have. We're going to see if that is any different this year. I'm just used to getting fluky results in this rebuild. If you watch the main one, we lost so many games that we shouldn't have, but we're sitting at 12-0. Connor Childs also went off against Oregon State for 5 touchdowns, maybe moving him up in the Heisman race. And we are getting San Diego State in the Pac-12 championship. That is really surprising to me. Boise State fell off that hard that they lost 4 conference games. But if they have struggles this year and next year, it's just going to make it easier for us to get back to the playoffs. And with an extra game for Connor Childs, I think we really might win the Heisman. We have to play well here, though, and this is a team that gave us one of our closest games of the entire season. I do wish this wasn't in Allegiant Stadium, though, just because we haven't gotten a single snow game using the Cougars. That's really all that I want. I think we're going to be able to take the top off of their defense on this play as well. I am trying my hardest to refrain from throwing interceptions, though. I do not want to cost Connor Childs the Heisman Trophy. We're going to have our slant, so he has 2 passing touchdowns early on, and I think it's just going to keep on getting worse for the Aztecs as they just brought the pressure, but they're not stopping us. It is pretty safe to say that we are going to run the Pac-12 this entire rebuild. They were able to hold us up there, though, and we just threw this one, and he couldn't turn around in time. I mean, look at the way we're trying to end this first half. We're going to throw this one, and it is going to be caught. I don't know why the guy standing right there didn't make a play, but if you watch that play back, you'll notice Connor Childs was not out there. He dislocated his knee. That's right, TJ took over, and we had no issue winning the Pac-12 championship. But we're going to be missing our star quarterback for the college football playoffs. This cannot be how Connor Childs' story ends. He's going to win the Walter Camp Award, but is he going to win the Heisman Trophy, or is he going to get snubbed by the Boise State receiver he takes home to Maxwell? How many other awards are there, though, before they tell us who wins the Heisman? It is Connor Childs. I really hope that he can just suck it up and play against Penn State as well. The fact that we didn't get a first-round bye really hurts. But unfortunately, with the dislocated knee, he is out for 2 games. If we got that first-round bye, we might still have a chance at winning the championship, but I don't see how we would get through Penn State and Clemson. It's going to be a real challenge without our Heisman Trophy winner, who threw for 39 touchdowns and 1 interception. This ratio is beautiful. Then on the rushing side of things, Courtney Vines went for 18 touchdowns, 1,000 yards. I don't think he's going to want to transfer out either. This is actually so refreshing, too, to look through all of our top receivers and see that all of them want to come back. 18 touchdowns for Jason, then his brother Garrison had 6. Malik Clark is obviously going to be missed. This is the one kid that's a senior, so he's gone no matter what, but he was a monster. I have to figure out, though, which of these quarterbacks do I want to trust against Penn State, and honestly, I really like the idea of putting Grimes out there with his 88 speed, but TJ Stanley was the kid that took over in the conference championship. He is the slowest of these 3, but if we look at his accuracies, I think he's the most accurate. Not that he's any good either, he's just going to be our best option. We average 43 points per game, while Penn State only averages 36. And what we need out of our defense in this game is the carry of a lifetime. We get to host the playoff game, though, which is nice. There's just no snow coming down. Well, so far, we have not put up, any points in this game, but we're trying to get a field goal before the end of the half. And they're just sitting back there in cover 4. We got to throw this one away. I was sitting there trying to roll out like Connor was still out there in this game. We're going to throw up a 50-50 ball and just hope for the best. We can't come back to it. It is not looking very good for getting a field goal before the end of this half, but that throw is off target. Our defense actually did a pretty good job of making sure this one didn't get out of hand. TJ Stanley just had a pretty rough game, That's okay. We are going to have to find a way to cope with this loss, and I think you know the best way for us to do that. The fans already started midway through the second quarter. They knew that we were not going to beat Penn State, and one injury just changed this entire season, because what could have happened if our Heisman-winning quarterback was healthy? That is a thought that is going to haunt Cougar fans forever, especially since Oregon won the national championship, a team that we knew we could beat, and it's going to be very interesting to see which players want to leave this team after last season. There's going to be a couple guys like Courtney Vines that got up to an 89 overall. Now he wants to declare for the NFL draft instead of coming back. Then Malik Clark is obviously going to be gone as well. But actually, for the players that I thought might enter the portal, we knew James Naylor was already going to leave. The rest of these guys don't upset me that much. We've been able to convince a few of them to come back, which is just going to help out with some of the numbers. A good transfer portal period is going to make a big difference as well. It just really stinks that Courtney Vines ended up leaving early, because he wasn't going to until he progressed. Having auto progression on instead of being able to manually do it is definitely a game changer that I'm having to get used to. He had a good season though. He had a reason to leave, and with him off of the roster, we might need to get a portal running back, because Colin Wilson, I don't know how he'll progress, and Antonio Rainbow with his 94 speed's good, but he's only a 75. After the season that we just had, portal interest is definitely pretty high, though we don't need a tight end. We don't really need a free safety either. And we're going to see if some of these updated school grades can carry us to getting some prospects that we typically would. For a lot of these highly rated guys though, to even have a chance at getting them, we have to make sure that we guess their hard sell correctly. And I think I was able to bring in a few solid transfers, but I don't know how many battles we lost. There were some, like for tight end Avery Dingle, where I just had to accept that the kid from Washington was going to go for the Huskies anyway. We didn't get any of the good transfer receivers that were 4 stars either. We didn't get a quarterback, which makes sense. Didn't get a 4-star running back. I mean, there's just loss after loss. At the end of the day, though, I think Pat Morin's a solid backup if Connor Childs happens to get injured again. We can also see that Rashard McCarry came in as a transfer. He's going to be our second string running back. But then there's players like David Lawrence and Adrian Daniels that I recruited as gadget receivers that I might want to move over to that position too. It feels kind of dumb to do, but since David Lawrence is our 4th best receiver, he's moving. And I always end up doing this where I just over-recruit at the defensive back position, because we clearly have way too many besides a strong safety. With training results coming around now, I'm a little bit nervous, because I don't know how the computer is going to handle progressing our players, but they've taken us up having a 93 overall quarterback, which, you know what, this is something I can work with. Connor Childs did not max out his accuracy. I wish they would have done that. Instead, they focused on his IQ. This awareness is only going to help it sim. Maybe that's what we need, though. David Lawrence has also gone up to a 91 overall. I don't remember this guy's name. Who is this? Never mind, I figured it out pretty quickly just by looking at his number. Even though his jersey pulled up way too high, he was a receiver that we moved over here, and his stats are still pretty good. It is going to be interesting to see how we do through the air without having a 99 speed receiver. I'm just used to recruiting players like that. Our tight end is going to be a beast. And basically, this entire team's good, so once I encourage some transfers and get the lower overall players off this roster, we're easily going to be a 99. Honestly, I think it was a more enjoyable experience to just leave auto upgrades on. I didn't have to spend 30, 45 minutes each offseason progressing our whole roster, and the computer did a really good job with them as well. They aren't trying to cheese around the deal breaker system either, so sometimes we're losing players that we typically wouldn't have. That just makes me want to leave on auto upgrades for most of my rebuilds the rest of this year on College Football 26. We're going to start the season playing at UCLA. It's not going to be as tough as us facing Oregon last year, but this is a team that beat us in the playoff. And this being a night game with their run out has been pretty sick. We have a quarterback that is going for back-to-back Heisman trophies, though. I've never done that before. It'd be really cool if we were able to do it with Washington State. It'd also make the most sense. And the longer this game's gone on for, the worse it has gotten for the Bruins. I'm trying to close it out with one final touchdown in the last 15 seconds. We'll see if UCLA can handle our offense down inside the red zone, and they can. Connor Childs is an absolute monster. I am so thrilled that he decided to stay at Washington State. There was no other way for this rebuild to go. Of course, we were able to find an amazing quarterback with the Cougars. And what I'm going to be most interested in is if we can go undefeated during the season again, are we going to be able to get a top 4 seed in the playoff? I'm already expecting that once we get past the Apple Cup, we should win the rest of our games. We might not even need to worry about Boise State this year, because we saw how they finished out last season. Down inside the goal line. I mean, we have all the time in the world to hook up with our tight end. One thing about Washington, though, is they have been able to put up a really good fight they catch that in the end zone. And the stadium pulse is currently through the roof as we try and respond back against them. Honestly, if we could just communicate with our receiver over there, we would have a touchdown. At least I think we would. The hot route finally got in, and we have thrown it up as we're going to come underneath. The Ansall brothers are almost impossible for defenses to stop. We're going to throw that one on his cut. And guess what? Washington is not having much success at all, though it took us a while to get a sack. We got everybody ready to drop back on 4th down. All I have to do is make sure our corner route's not giving up. We're going to have to make a hit here. We do. And with this result, we're going to win another Apple Cup, which is nice. I just can't guarantee that by the time we're done simulating to the Boise State game, that we're still going to be sitting undefeated in the country. At least it looks like Connor Childs isn't injured because he's still having success. And sure enough, with some blowout wins over a lot of these teams, we are going to be 9-0 as we head into our final 3 matchups. Connor Childs is not in the Heisman race though, so he must have thrown a lot more interceptions this season. But that's not really the case. He's thrown 3 interceptions versus 1, but he has 39 touchdowns and he still has 3 games left. What I figured out is the real reason he's not in the Heisman race is he hasn't had as much success running the football. So we're going to hop into the game against Boise State after boosting up our tactician stats and see if we're able to scramble it in at least a few times. If there is one team we have played a lot in this video, it's got to be Boise State and then of course Washington. Those have been the 2 schools that have just been really hard for us to take down. Chance for a rushing touchdown here, and I don't care that we fell short of the end zone. I am literally going to run 4 quarterback sneaks in a row. I am almost 99% sure this is how to win a Heisman Trophy. It's dumb, but if you don't get quarterback rushing touchdowns, you won't be in contention. It is really hard to get those scrambling touchdowns though whenever they set some contains on the field. To end this first half, we're going to try and just run straight up the middle because we knew that there was no quarterback spot. And ultimately, it is just really easy with as good of an offensive line as we have to always find somebody that's open, and we should go out of bounds. Like I said, a few rushing touchdowns in this game will greatly help his Heisman chances. This would be a lot easier if this playbook had some more quarterback runs. Ultimately, though, we continue to get it done with him, and we're going to keep it on this read option for another rushing touchdown. If that performance doesn't get Connor Childs into the Heisman race, I'm not sure what will. He had 6 total touchdowns. We cruised to a win. And sure enough, what did I say? You get a certain amount of rushing touchdowns with a quarterback, and then you're in the Heisman Trophy race all of a sudden, all the way up to number 1. It's dumb that it works that way. But even Deuce Knight for Oklahoma would not be here. He cannot stay alone at SEC schools. Just a little side note. But he would not be in the Heisman race if he didn't have 7 rushing touchdowns on the ground. I think that's why as you get farther and farther into Dynasty, you'll notice that quarterbacks are winning the Heisman Trophy less and less because a lot of the time they just aren't rushing for enough touchdowns to win it. And I'm not sure I've ever felt more comfortable in a rebuild simming all the games in the final season where we have to win it all. This team is literally just that well constructed though. Of course we're going to be playing the Broncos again. And assuming this goes the way I think it will, we're winning the Pac-12 every single year of this video. No matter if I'm able to win a national championship or not, I think I've done Washington State pretty well here. And as we approach the end of this first half, I was trying to get a rushing touchdown. It didn't really work out, but I have a feeling that this RPO is going to get pretty open, which it did. I've made some decisions in this game that really haven't been the best, but we're always going to have someone open. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of patience, and we have had this trophy every single year now. I really thought the Pac-12 was going to be more competitive than this whenever we did the realignment. To be completely fair though, we have built an extremely good team. Connor Childs with his 50 touchdowns, 75% completion percentage, one of the highest completion percentages I have ever seen, should be taking home the Heisman Trophy here, which he is. Then we have Oregon in the first round of the playoff. For whatever reason, we're only the 7th seed. That probably has to do with the fact that our conference prestige has us rated below the American Conference still. But it is what it is. I think either way, win 3 or 4 playoff games, we should have a really good chance at doing it, especially with an extra stat boost to Connor Childs. Here are his season stats. Rushing-wise, he had another 7 touchdowns on the ground. But David Lawrence, moving this kid over from a gadget receiver was amazing. He had an incredible season, and then Trent Kindred did. So did Jason Ansall. His brother had 480 receiving yards, 3 tutties. Just lots of success all around, though. If we're going to win it all, we got to go through Oregon and Notre Dame. One thing I'm curious about is even though our roster is 13 overalls higher than Oregon's on paper, what does their roster actually look like? Because I have a feeling that our 2 teams are going to be pretty similar if you just compare the overalls. They have a 99 linebacker. We're going to have to be on top of things here, but I might reload into it until we can get a snow game. Well, I've tried about 6 times March now, and I just can't get any snow. That is one thing about Dynasty. If it's going to be a sandbox, I would love an ability to just change the weather for each game. It could have made this matchup a lot more special, especially since it seems like we're going to come out on top with no issues at all. In the final couple minutes, we just got a massive stop on 4th down. We already have a 2-possession lead, but they knocked that ball loose to get the ball back, and they've been driving down the field ever since. The odds are not in their favor, that's for sure, especially if they're going to throw an interception to Boone. And you know what? We're going to lateral this back. I want to see if we can disrespect them and return this for a touchdown. Come on, make a play out of this. I'm so bad. Coach is going to be screaming from the sideline watching this player do that. Either way, we've come out on top. And I'd like to think that Notre Dame's not going to give us a problem either. They've already lost 2 games this season, but they're a 94 overall. And we are no longer going to have any home field advantage. I can't really say that's made the biggest difference in this game, considering we're scoring with ease. I definitely thought that Notre Dame was going to play better, but they haven't. It feels like anything that we want, we're basically able to throw. We're about to get another touchdown. And this one was extremely ugly for the Fighting Irish. Just to show you how good Connor Childs has been as well, he has set the Pac-12 career passing touchdowns record alongside any Washington State record that you could name. There's just no way that he's not a first-round pick at the end of this season. And of the 4 teams left in the playoffs, number 1 undefeated Oklahoma scares me the most. I'd say Georgia's pretty good too, but we just saw last week that a 94 overall for Notre Dame meant absolutely nothing, which makes my hope that the Bulldogs aren't going to be that impressive in this one. We've already played at the Rose Bowl this season. We have never struggled this much at the Rose Bowl, though. We're currently trailing by 17 points. It's not looking good. That should have been picked. The entire offense is just having an off day, and we've had so few off days in this rebuild, we weren't ready. There is still time to come back, though. We're just going to get out the halfback angle route, go to the 7, and this time we have that exact same concept worked into the other side of the field as we take our drag. I am in such a hurry-up mode for a reason, because I know we don't have that much time left in this game. If Georgia was smart, they'd be taking a lot of time off of the clock, and on 3rd down, they're going to test my user. And I thought they were going to throw the drag, so I just broke. The longer this goes on for, the more that I'm panicking, but that was a terrible run. And being down by 13 with 3 minutes left is not the end of the world. Ideally, we're just able to score a touchdown before the 2-minute warning came. But we should have possession caught that ball. We're going to go with the halfback screen here, and we're still getting caught. This is not good. They're probably going to bring a lot of pressure. We have running backs underneath that we're prepared to hit. And fortunately, Bukhari gets us enough. Now they're coming out and pressing on one of these sides, which I find to be pretty interesting. I would have loved the chance to top them off. They're taking the top off of their defense, but we didn't get that opportunity. Now we're just going to throw this one out. And that's a big problem. It is 4th and 10. We're waiting for our crosser to get open. They're playing that, but we still hang on. There's not much hope left in this game, but there is still at least some. And I'm very interested to see what type of coverage they go with here. That could have been it. I don't love how their defense is rotating all around and stuff before each play. It's kind of confusing me. We're just going to scramble. We have to slide quick. We just should have never put ourselves in this position in the first place. You see how long it has taken us to drive down the field with this roster as well? We have to do that a second time? What the heck? Something has clearly broken here. I mean, this just looks awful. What? I mean, even look at our tight end after the play, and the way he is bending his head. This is so goofy. He didn't even have the ball in his hands there. We're going to put Ansah on a slant. We just got to get in, and that's what we needed. What they are most likely going to do is just run it 3 straight times, but they already got me with the RPO. I was trying to push him out of bounds. Why is the computer getting so smart on us here? They're passing now. Do they realize how much time is left? Push him out of bounds. No. No! That's the game. I don't know what they were doing, but it worked. It worked. I was committed to the run. We didn't even make it to the championship with Washington State. I have failed to rebuild the Cougars. We did not win the 5-year rebuild. It's been so long since this has happened as well. Maybe the program's cursed. It turns out that the Sooners were not the most feared college by the time we got to the semifinals. We lost to the eventual national champions, and this 5,000-yard passing season, 59 passing touchdowns, another 7 on the ground is just going to go to waste. The kid from Washington was so close to achieving everything he could have ever dreamed of in his career, but unfortunately, even after being a first-round pick, he never won a national championship. It is cool to see the Ansah brothers get drafted. I just wish in this 5-year rebuild I could have done better by Washington State fans. I had more chances to win it all than I'd normally get because we made the playoffs so many times, but it never worked out, so our trophy room is not going to consist of a natty. And after failing this 5-year rebuild, let me know in the comments, what's a team you think I can succeed with a 5-year rebuild so I can build up my confidence again? I failed this rebuild the last time that I tried it, falling short by 6 points due to an inaccurate pass in our only playoff appearance. But I'll be trying to win a championship with only one-star recruits again. I don't like failing challenges, so I've come up with a plan. But I'm limiting myself to just 10 seasons, which really isn't enough time. We'll be using Western Michigan, a one-star program with low school grades. And of course, this needs to be done on the hardest difficulty. But to really up the challenge, I made the starting roster as bad as I could, a 62 overall. From here, it's time to try and take one-stars all the way to a national championship. We're actually recruiting Kevin Hart at running back and Derek Carr at quarterback. But as one-star prospects, you know these stats are going to be bad. 74 speed with a scrambler tendency, at the running back position 83 speed, and even these receivers, despite being deep threats, are getting 88, 89 at the most. That's going to be one of the biggest problems in this rebuild. I'm not sure we can keep up with the big programs athletically. And from a coach build perspective, I want to max out the tactician tree. I also want to get into this architect tree because there's something called Limitless. It gives you a chance to increase random skill caps every time players level up, which is very important for one-star recruits because they are capped out around like a 70, 75 overall, and that would allow us to break some of these skill caps and make them even better. In order to get the architect tree unlocked though, we have to do 3 things. We have to spend 25 points in the motivator tab, 25 points in the tactician tab, and then finally winning 4 rivalry games. We clearly aren't going to have much success in season number 1, but it does make our matchups versus Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan extremely important. They're our rivals. And besides those 2 matchups, I'm definitely going to be simming everything else. My main focus has to be on bringing in the one-star recruits. Pat Dalton is the first one we've signed. And for most of these prospects, we can get away with only putting 25 hours a week into them, but some of them are a bit more complicated, and I don't want to lose a recruiting battle for a one-star recruit. Come to think of it though, I'm not sure any of these guys are worth our extra resources. After losing a player to Kent State, who went 0-12 last year, we're just going to ignore players that are tough to land. Like expected, we've also opened up season number 1 terribly, going 0-4, but we're about to play Eastern Michigan, who also hasn't won a game. And this is our chance to get our first of 4 rivalry wins that we desperately need. Throughout these 10 years, we have to at least prove that we're the best directional school in the state of Michigan. But I made this team terrible, and it is showing. We've literally only scored 7 points in this game. If we don't pick up this 4th down, it is over. And these guys just aren't good. We put it right where it needed to be, but it was still dropped. I have a feeling this is the same thing that's going to happen against Central Michigan, but we have to at least try. And our future quarterback, Derek Carr, has committed, but this one is only 5'9". Now, since that's how tall I am, I can't really roast him. That'd just be friendly fire, but he is not going to be good for us. I can tell you that right now. And just take a look. All the one-stars that we've gotten a few weeks into the year is insane. We literally might have a full class of 35 players by the time we get to our next rivalry game, which we're going to need to have for a few seasons because we only have 5 sophomores and 6 freshmen. I also made sure a lot of those juniors are one-star JUCOs, which is why we keep on losing, though we almost beat Toledo. And this rivalry series between the Michigan schools is pretty cool. There's a 3-way battle for that rivalry trophy. It's called the Michigan MAC Trophy. We just don't have a chance at winning it. We're at the bottom of our conference, but maybe we're about to pull off the upset. And knowing how the last one-star only rebuild went, we're going to have some luck on our side if we're going to win a championship in just 10 seasons. This one hasn't gone much different than the other one. At the moment, we're going to be on a 4th down. And it's either touchdown or bust to stay in this game, though we might have a dot if we just hang on to the football. Every pass is going to be a red meter. 2-point conversion is important too, though, and we're going to step up, run, and get it. There should not be any hope in this stadium, but getting them off the field would still give us a chance, and they threw it straight at me. They also just threw us off of it. I really don't believe I can achieve this comeback either way, but if we're going to have a shot, it's getting a stop on 3rd and 4, and how did we miss that tackle? It's not even worth getting too frustrated about, but this is the level of talent we're going to be working with all video. I am going to have to find some methods to develop these kids. And this is where I'm going to put my first coach points from leveling up. We're going to unlock the motivator tree, and then we're going to go in here and make sure our quarterbacks get an off-season training boost. This will make them progress a little bit quicker. Just like that, we've completed our first of 3 tasks that it takes to unlock the architect tree. And we have literally already signed 33 one-star prospects, but I'm holding off on those final 2 spots just in case there's a couple good one-star transfers. I can play up to 3 regular season games a year in this rebuild, but I didn't even take that 3rd game because I knew we were just going to lose every matchup. And this is just crushing. Not only did we lose to our rival Central Michigan, but they're inside the top 6. They're going to make the playoffs. Out of pure frustration, I'm firing both of these coordinators. I'm going to try to bring in some other guys. And fortunately, Kent State's former head coach, Aaron Watson, is exactly what we're looking for. He's going to have tactician stuff and also the architect tree available. On the other side of the ball, I was looking for a recruiter so we could scout players quicker, but this is the best that we're going to get. And I'm not even sure it's worth it for us to review the season stats since none of these players are going to be good for us besides maybe sophomore receiver Tony Martin. It looks like in the college football playoffs, Central Michigan couldn't handle Georgia. And I'm surprised that only 2 players are leaving this program. I thought it'd be more than this. The other guys had an option to escape, they decided not to. In the transfer portal, there's going to be one-star transfer that we can pursue. And he is going to be coming in with 88 speed. That's probably some of the best speed we're going to find in this entire video. Only 2 schools are even considering him. We're also adding on another QB. I highly doubt that it's any shock we're going to sign them both, but there might not be a purpose to check recruiting rankings throughout this video ever. We're going to finish with the 3rd worst class, and the only reason for that is because Louisiana Tech and Ohio only signed 4 and 5 players. From the looks of it, though, we should probably start to explore having a running offense before a passing offense. And some of these athletes are such low overalls, I'm not even excited to move them to another position. I also tried to look into these player development traits, but Derek Carr and Kevin Hart are both going to be normal. We did find a couple impacts. They were just extremely uncommon, and if I'm able to, I am going to cut some of the original players on the Western Michigan roster that I know weren't 1-stars. However, if I see something like this, a 1-star high school rating on our best player, I will keep him around. And for having a terrible season, we did level up quite a bit, all the way to level 14 with 110 coach points to spend. At least for now, I'm going to make our offensive line a little bit better and also our quarterback play, but that's going to be it because I want to save up the rest of the coach points for whenever the architect tree unlocks. And there's a decent chance we could get capped out around level 25 to 30, so we need a ton of coach points to fill up all these tiers. When it comes to our recruiting strategy in season number 2, it's the same as season number 1. Just get as many players in as we can. I don't even think I'm going to waste time scouting them. Because even though one of our 2 coordinators is a recruiter, he'll make the process a little bit quicker. That is only going to be for the defensive positions. It's a bit of a letdown, but our roster did get a tad bit better, so we don't have to start players like Derek Carr, quarterback. And I'm not sure if this one is ever going to see the field unless he starts to have some crazy player progression. Just from the looks of it, he's actually going to be replaced by this prospect as well. EA knows what they're doing with these names. I don't know exactly who Dom Hussein was, but I know that he had to have done something terrible if I recognize that name. Maybe that's exactly what this program needs, though. Somebody that's willing to go to the extremes to get us some wins. And please educate me in the comments on why I recognize that name. Now, we did find our first 1-star gym. This is what I'm excited about. We have a gym as a 1-star, 88 speed. It's not terrible for a running back, which is not something that we're going to be able to find that often. Our first game's against Coastal Carolina. And just like last season, I'm going to focus in on our 2 rivalry games, though we're also going to play that FCS school because I think it could be our first win. Before that, though, Coastal Carolina is going to beat us 41-7, and we actually lost by less points at ranked Tennessee. Either way, we're still winless. This is the opportunity we've been hoping for, similar overalls. And I've brought out the gold alternate jerseys for this game, which if Western Michigan didn't have and we only wore brown jerseys at home, I probably wouldn't have used them. They'll just be added to the list of all the schools that we've rebuilt. On 3rd and 7, of course we drop it. But we will be faking this field goal, and that is because our kicker has 96 speed. I'm not sure why he does, but we got to go for the first down. How are they able to catch him? Never mind. Is that enough? Okay, it turns out it wasn't enough. The whole reason that kid is that fast is I moved over like a wide receiver to kicker just to make our team lower overall. And he's a senior, so I wanted to do it at least once, but if we just took our points on that drive, we'd have a lead right now. There's about 4 minutes left. It is all tied up, and using our running back, we're about to get a first down. LeBron is just fighting. But now that I'm starting to think about us having a wide receiver or kicker, I'm not sure how far away we can be or else he's going to miss. We should be okay, though, as long as we keep on running the football pretty well. It's going to be 3rd down. And that's like the 3rd play in a row where we've gotten 2 yards on the carry. I'm hitting the wrong button right here. I had somebody open. I panicked. I went to hit triangle. I hit R1 at the same time. Now we're attempting this kick, and that's as good as it's going to get. You combine that with a holding penalty, and we are in a fantastic spot, but they just thread the needle. I'm sorry, their quarterback should not be able to make throws like that. They've also beat our press, so they're going to score a touchdown. And this team's in a bad spot if we're losing to an FCS school in year number 2. Do you really think that we're about to work it down the field and somehow score in 30 seconds? Not with an offensive line like this. It is a terrible, terrible start to the challenge. There's the interception. And they're probably about to return it too, just to run up the score. I'm not proud of this Western Michigan team at the moment. That is why we're just going to focus on recruiting again. But I'm not really proud about the prospects like this guy that I'm bringing to the program either. Until we get to our rivalry games, we know that things are just going to get worse. But you know what? I actually like the effort that we put up against Kent State. We only lost to them by 4. Maybe there is some hope for us against Eastern Michigan. We have the home field advantage. And if our fans are going to show out for any game, it's this one. You know who didn't show out for the first 3 quarters, though? Our entire team. We just scored our first touchdown a second ago. We're trying to get another. And Gibbs is going to have to become a little bit more accurate. He didn't have a chance. That's the type of stuff we experienced in this game. It's no shock that we lost. And the week after, Buffalo's going to double our score. Considering Central Michigan made it to the playoffs last year, even Even if they're only 4-3, I'm not feeling good playing on the road. And at this rate, it'd be nice to just get one rivalry win. We're about to go 0 for 4 in this video, though there could be some hope for us in this game still. There's a flag. And it looks like it's going to be against our rivals. If we are going to come back down by 14 with 2 minutes left on the clock, that is what we're going to need, though they're getting a hand on the ball. And I'm not sure why I'm expecting Gibbs to be able to throw it downfield at all. Nobody can even get open versus man-to-man coverage, so we needed to see some zone, and we got hit so hard that they just get the ball out of it. That's some elite penetration. Central Michigan gets the win. But do you know where Western Michigan's been taking their wins off the field? 32 one-stars have been signed. Now, I could make a decision right now to fire Matt. I want to see if we can get a recruiter defensive coordinator. But the grass is not always greener on the other side. This is the best I've been able to find so far, and he's a step down from what we have. Now, just taking a look over at the conference standings, it seems like Ball State won the MAC. And I'm not upset that Shaquille Gibbs is a senior quarterback. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Rushing-wise, we averaged 3.3 yards per carry, and we did not have any good receivers. We also never got any better coordinator options. Nobody wants to come here, so we had to settle for Cade Kane. Part of my plan to win us a championship in 10 years involved us getting a recruiter coordinator in the first 2. So this is not a good start to my redemption run at this challenge. Tyshawn King, the kid that transferred in, also is leaving us. He isn't the only one, though. I'm pretty sure we had over 30 players that just graduated. And I saved a few spots just in case the transfer portal had 1-stars this year, but it clearly isn't worth it. We're just going to sign a few athletes instead, because those could be big for us as we get closer to the end of the rebuild. And I know it's going to be possible to get a 1-star with star or elite development, but it is so rare because even the gym that we had only had impact. This year, it is official. We had the worst class in the country, but Eastern Michigan is not far away. We're going to be able to beat them in a few seasons. And I've already picked up on something that could help us right here. If you recruit a left or a right end that is a run-stopper tendency, when you move them to defensive tackle, they go up by 2 overalls, which we're going to gladly take. We are currently in desperate times. Our team overall doesn't seem to crack above 70, though we do have one player 10 overalls better than everybody else in 86. Connor was on the original Western Michigan roster, but he is a 1-star prospect, so we've been able to keep him around. And he's really an 81 overall without tactician boost. That is why it's going to be so important that we fill up all these eventually. You might notice, though, that we only leveled up one more time this year, and we need a lot of coach points for the rest of this still. So it's going to be tough to decide what to prioritize, but looking at our roster size, we're up to 83 out of 85. We currently only have 9 players that are seniors and 3 players that are juniors, 65 freshmen, so we're going to have to take it light for the next couple classes. And I guess we can scout the players that we're going after a little bit more, but they're going to have stuff like 81 speed. Looking at our quarterback room, though, we have a senior quarterback that's the same overall as Derek Carr, so Derek Carr is going to get the start. And I actually think that instead of trying to recruit running backs, we're just going to recruit wide receivers, and then if they're a little bit faster, move them over eventually. The other way to get faster running backs, though, is the athletes at those positions. I just can't put them at any other spot on the field. We've also found another gym. This guy's a corner, and look at George Hunter at quarterback. These are the best stats we found on a 1-star yet. Since most offensive positions still cost 50 hours to scout, I didn't get to scout many players. But that's why I want to find a maxed out recruiting coordinator. Looking at our schedule at the moment, we're probably going to play the same 3 games we did last year: Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and against an FCS school. If we somehow win any of these other matchups in Sim, it'd be incredible. But we haven't even gotten that first win yet, and getting destroyed like this, it's not looking like it's coming any closer. Just like last week, we're going to have to play on the road again at an 80-plus team. But somehow, we have taken down Miami, Ohio. We have won our first game, our first conference game. They only scored 14. Derek Carr did not play well either. 2 interceptions. Did we run the ball well? Not really. And we could be above 500 if we find a way to take down the Pandas. After that last result, I'd hope that we could beat them too. But we find ourselves down by 8 with 5.5 minutes left, and this one will be brought in. That's what we want to see out of Derek Carr. We also are going to hit our tight end to get another first down. But it just hit me. We need to be recruiting a receiver that's like 6'5", so we can throw some jump balls up to him. Is that another Hussein? Evidently it is. The Western Michigan program cannot escape them. On 3rd and 3, he didn't get it. And I almost think I'm going to regret going for it on 4th down, since we could have just kicked the field goal. Yeah, we're not getting it over his head. The drag probably ended up being open too, despite there being somebody in that area originally, though they're not getting a start down. And there is hope that we could start this season with 2 wins as we complete the pass. This is the level of play that we've got to have if we're going to beat our rivals this year. But I just feel like our receivers are going to have to get better first. We didn't get it out in time. I really don't know where to throw it. Staring down one route is not going to work with this team. We have a chance at catching this at least, but they're going to catch it, and if they get this back to field goal range, we're going to have no opportunity. All right, well, we know that we should be able to get the ball back one final time, but I really don't see how that's going to help us. We are going to have to still stop them. We do. It's just there's no way we move this ball all the way down the field, especially if that goes out at the 1. Well, 99 yards is not going to be easy to achieve. I don't know if we can hit the seam, and this is where it would be nice to have a 6'5" receiver out on the outside, even if they weren't that fast, because we know I can make some aggressive catches, just not here. The main problem is we're not going to find anybody in this video over like 89 speed, so I think we're going to rely on a rushing offense instead. But this is exactly why I struggled the last time that I tried this challenge, and I somehow have not gotten any better at the game. We are performing better in sim though. We just beat Colorado State, despite them being like 15 overalls better, and we'd probably be better off in this rivalry if I just left it up to sim. I still trust myself more though. It's the only thing that's worth playing for, so we can unlock the architecture. And there were some valuable lessons I learned from that last matchup that have allowed us to keep this one tighter. That could have been a big run. But the problem is he's already suffering -6 speed due to wear and tear. Even though we're better at running the ball than throwing with this team, that's why we tend to go away from it. And on 3rd and 2, they are going to be ready to stop us. That's really going to affect our chances in this game because they took a lot of time to get a field goal against us. We're missing. And here we go. Big 4th and 10. Will Derek Carr clutch up? No. It's simply just going to be another loss to Eastern Michigan. And you know what? I'll take our chances. I'm simming the rest of the year, including against Central Michigan. The only thing I'm going to be worrying about is trying to find some faster receivers that we could use. 89 speed, 6'3", that might be the best we get. Never mind though, I feel like I've pushed everything to the limit, finding a 90 speed receiver and then a 93 speed receiver. Cameron Killings might be the best one we find the entire video. As we approach the game against Central Michigan, though, we are going to be sitting at 2-5. And let's just hope that Sim does its magic since they're an 84. Well, at this rate, we're never going to come close to unlocking the architecture. And things only got worse for us as we just got destroyed by about everybody else. It is hard to sit here and say we have a positive outlook in these final 7 seasons, because we really don't, but I don't think we can fire our offensive coordinator. He's the only bit of architect that we have unlocked at the moment. For the 3rd year in a row, though, we're going to be looking for a defensive coordinator. And I just know that we're getting messed with right now, because Nathan would be the perfect fit, but he's probably going to accept the offer from Purdue. I take that back. We have found a recruiter that we have desperately been searching for. And let's see if he can scout all positions. He is going to be able to do so. This is perfect. That's the first thing that's gone our way. I'm also going to point out, we had a team from our conference, Ball State, make it to the playoffs. And they were able to do it with a few losses. Now, we are going to be losing our best player to graduation, 81 overall without those tactician boosts. But it didn't feel like we had a good offensive lineman whenever we were in the pocket. Derek Carr threw twice as many interceptions as touchdowns. Our running back only had 2 rushing touchdowns. He's gone. And then receiving-wise, 2 600-yard receivers. It's a shame that Tony Martin really wasn't any good for us either. He had Silver shifting. And I'm not even upset the receiver's gone, because I think one of these 3 guys, especially Cameron Killings, could be a better player. It looks like since there's no 1-star transfers, we're done with our class, just 13 players. And every single one of them is going to be normal development besides the 2 gyms that we were able to find. I will say though, we might be onto something finding some good 1-stars, because George Hunter is a freshman, is going to be a 67 overall quarterback. But it's going to take me a lot to put him in over Derek Carr, considering he's a 74 overall now. Also, we have a 90 overall rusher. Yes, we just got the luckiest training result possible. In reality, we had him as a speed rusher, outside linebacker, then moved him over to left end. This is going to be our strategy with athletes to hopefully get some better players, because they max out the stats whenever you change them over, like 99 tackle. And if we can get a player or 2 like that every year, we might be able to handle this schedule a little bit better and hopefully make it to a bowl game. Now, here's the thing with sophomore quarterback Derek Carr. We already know that he's short, and his accuracy is about 80 throw on the run, 70 deep accuracy, which in comparison to George Hunter, the kid that we just brought in, is actually a little bit worse. But the problem with him is his accuracy is already fully capped out. That is exactly why we need this architect tree unlocked so badly. We've just made 0 progress. And I should note, in my plan, our season 4 class does not matter at all, but our season 5 one is the most important one, because that's going to be the base for our hopeful championship run. That is why I am so frustrated that I just found 2 incredible quarterback prospects. It at least gives me hope in the future that we're going to be able to find more, but it is annoying. And basically, the other few players we're going to go after are just athletes that could play either running back for us or linebacker. I'm also not sure if I've mentioned it or not, but basically every season, if they're a true freshman, they're getting redshirted. That includes George Hunter, which shouldn't be too big of a deal, and I actually trust this team to win this game in sim more than myself. That is exactly what we do, 31-0, though both Charlotte and Iowa are going to beat us, and Central Michigan, we have to play on the road, is ranked in the top 25. I don't know about you all, but it is starting to seem like we are never going to take down our rivals. This season, they're an 83 overall, and I'm just hoping that this one is at least close. Well, Well, with 7 minutes left, we are only down by a possession. That is manageable. We're also breaking the tackle. And Shoemaker was also supposed to be a running back that we moved over to tight end. He's been incredible. When it comes to one-star recruits, athletes are the best thing that we can go after. Derek Carr puts it on the money. And the longer that this drive goes on for, the better that I'm feeling. It is 3rd and 8, though, which is a little bit concerning. We're going to take our drag. We're going to make it 4th and manageable. And we are going for this. We're going to have to catch it. We don't. I mean, it didn't take us very long to get it back. We actually might have a touchdown on this play, no, we're sure. But it's just frustrating how incapable this team seems of making the easiest plays. We're not going to be able to get any rushing yards there, though we should be able to just punch it in. And I'm going right back to that concept. It spreads the defense out, which allows us to be short. All right, now the pressure is on. We've got to get a stop versus them. That was out of reach. And I feel like it's going to be extremely difficult for us to stop the run. I didn't think they'd break off one right here, though. We got to catch them or else this game is over. We might just not be capable of getting a stop. I don't know where that dude came from, but that was a miracle. They had a lane to the end zone, and I've clicked off, which didn't really make a difference. I put up the best fight that I could in this game, but it's not going to matter. They have a 2-possession lead, and we have had literally zero luck throughout this series. I know that I did this team no favors, making it as bad as I could before we even started. There might somehow still be a little bit of hope for Western Michigan, though. We scored 14 points in the 4th quarter to beat Bowling Green, and like expected, we had signed every single one-star that's on our board. I also decided that I was just going to keep on simming more weeks into the future. We beat NIU, but if we don't win our final 3 games, then we're not going to be bowl eligible. And that was never the expectation for this season, but we might as well try and make it happen. We might still be sitting near the bottom of the map, but we can turn things around. Or we could lose to Akron, which would make things even worse. I just don't think we're going to have what it takes to take them down. At the moment, they're up by 8 points, which is such an annoying deficit to face off against. The drag will get us the 4th down, but we have a lot of work to do still, and you know what? I'm going to throw it up to our tallest receiver. He can bring it in. Casas only has 84 speed, but he has the ability sure hands, which means he's going to catch that most of the time. And that's the draw to recruiting physical receivers. That makes me want to get one a bit more. I think we had a touchdown right there. We'll still be close. Well, Kevin Hart couldn't hold on to the football. The RPO does take us to the 1 now. And it's time for that Derek Carr to Kevin Hart combo that we recruited in season 1. For the 2-point conversion, I almost want to go back to the RPO that we ran a couple plays ago. We get it. And just the fact that we have them on the 3rd and 10, I'm feeling so much pressure right now. We could have intercepted that. Either way, though, I think we're going to be okay. I'm feeling a bit better about the position that we're in. And there is only one spot I'm going to be looking with Derek Carr on this play because Brink can get open underneath. I'm going to assume that we're not in field goal range at the moment, though. I'm about to see how fast Derek Carr really is. That was some stick. And we could actually go to 4 and 6. We just got a big run right here, and that takes us to the 10. We're going to run down the clock, get it centered up in the middle, and then we're going to kick our 3. But the more important game is the one we're playing next week. It's cool that we're getting this win right here, but we still haven't beaten a rival. And that's next up on Derek Carr's to-do list. I'm going to be so devastated if we fall to the Eagles again. But this year feels like it's going to go a bit different. Here in the 3rd quarter, we have a lead. We're also using the RPO to get closer to the end zone. And we've been using the Oregon playbook the last few weeks, which has actually been a pretty good experience. There's literally no reason for us to do anything else than keep running fullback dive now. But what would really help us is not giving up a touchdown on this 3rd and goal, and I could tell that they wanted to scramble. They just fight off every tackle. It doesn't matter how fast I get there, the computer breaks it every game. And this is what I'm dealing with playing with these bums. How are we supposed to win a championship? They're about to get the ball back and probably have plenty of success. That wasn't even a catch. They're calling that a catch and a fumble. They wouldn't just somehow score 1 touchdown after that either. They would get 2 of them. So we are now down 26-14. We fumbled the kickoff or something. It is just ridiculous. I don't mind if I run with Derek Carr on every single play. He's getting slow. And I guess we're going to find out if we're able to get into the end zone. That could have been there. Everything turned out to be okay, though. This is a huge 3rd and 4, and of course we just left him open. I played hard flats. I can't with this team. We know that they're just about to run it down our throats. And I'm bringing over as many people as I can, but it's going to be 1st and 10. This game's just over at this point. I don't know why we're still trying. And we are literally going to be hopeless in this entire rebuild. I am surprised that they're throwing it on 3rd down, though. They've tested my user. Hang on. We are not out of this yet. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Okay, we just have to act like we have been here before. Have we? Absolutely not. And was that open? Not even close. I just felt like I had to get something out. We're going to take our drag this time, and that's going to run some clock. I am scared to throw this ball very far down the field, though. We got to get something out. We can go out of bounds. And I wish I could trust some of our players to beat these kids deep, but we're going to have to go for their aggressive catches. We need ISO over there. ISO over on the left side of the field. I'm seeing some more isolation. Casas turns around, brings it in. He's at the 1. Okay, here we go. We ran down the clock a little bit. I might regret that later on. We could have had a touchdown right there. I'm throwing it away. I am literally so nervous. We can throw the slant. We can catch it. We have done it. We have beat Eastern Michigan in the final seconds. And EA literally did everything in their power to make sure that we didn't beat our rivals, but it doesn't matter. I don't think we're winning the battle for the Michigan MAC. We did win at least this one game. I'm not really sure how the tiebreaker works between 3 teams, but 3 tutties for Derek Carr. If only we had one more game to hop into, I could also play against Louisiana Monroe. But look at that. Alex Brown won Player of the Week with a terrible stat line. I figured there had to be a touchdown hiding in there or something, though. Apparently, he had a pick 6, and not only did we win, we won 41-14. I know we couldn't beat Central Michigan, but that's quite the season for us. I'm just remembering, though, I did learn a bad lesson about having a defensive coordinator that's a recruiter. Apparently, even though this says that it's going to make our offensive players take a lot less time to scout, we need our offensive coordinator to also have that, or else it's still going to take the full 50 hours to scout any offensive players. On the defensive side, it's quicker, but not offensively. After the season we had, though, knowing our offensive coordinator's an architect, I can't fire him. We're just going to have to go with scouting players for a lot longer. And I'm actually a little bit nervous that we're not going to get ourselves a bowl game since we were low down in the conference standings, but we're playing TCU. That's going to be tough. They score 11 more points per game than us, and you know what? We might get blown out, but we have made it this far. And even if they 63-3 us, this is a very, very successful season. To my surprise, though, we have this one within 9 points. On 3rd down, it looks like they're going to scramble and they're going to pick it up. So that will seal the game, but it was a pretty good effort. The final score doesn't really make it look pretty, but we know it was closer than that. And statistically, Derek Carr had himself quite the year, only 6 interceptions. This is a huge turnaround for him. In the rushing game, it was like non-existent, but we had a receiver go for 10 touchdowns. That's right, Eduardo Casas. He's the guy that has 50-50. He's also tall. I didn't even realize we had him on the roster last year when I wanted somebody like this. But that slow speed's doing nothing for us facing off against any playoff caliber team. I'm just glad that at the end of the year, we can say that we made one game of progress towards the architecture. And I have those coach points saved up for whenever we unlock it. The only players that we're losing are 3 cornerbacks, which means next season should be better than this past year. And is there going to be any 1-star transfers? There's not. That's really not the end of the world, though. I told you all that this class means nothing. It's the next one that is the most important. But I should point out what we've been doing with speed rushers. So we have Keenan Bullock right here. He's now up to a sophomore redshirt. He cannot progress as a linebacker at that position. Speed rusher doesn't exist for that archetype. It's a little confusing. I think I talked about it in the last 1-star video as well. But we're going to move him to speed rusher, and he should shoot up an overall. I think the reason that it works is there is a speed rusher tendency for the left and right ends. That is how Javonte got up to a 91. And it's really the only way to make any use out of these 45 overall athletes. Like, this kid was supposed to be a running back, but he'd just be a 45 overall, so I'd much rather make him a speed rusher, and maybe one day he can be even better than that. We definitely do have a shortage at the running back position, though, because I haven't moved many players here. And I wish I could say that some of the deep threat receivers turned into good running backs, but I'm pretty sure Derek Hyman's not going to progress much. At the quarterback position, we've also figured it out. We just got to scout for the best ones, because we have a 69 overall freshman and a 67. Plus, what did I say? There's Keenan Bullock, our 4th best player. This is the roster we're taking into season number 5, where the thing I am most concerned about, like I've been saying, is the recruiting class. What I've had to do so far is quite a lot of scouting. There's only 5 players that are still on the board after that, because it takes so long to find these offensive talents. But we found a receiver, 1-star, 95 speed. Getting Nick is one of the most important things in this class. That's going to allow our offense to spread out the field a bit more. But I've also found 2 quarterback options. I'm not sure who's going to be better, but they're both pretty good. All the recruiting stuff is all I care about at the moment. If we lose to Army in week 0, so what? But that probably isn't happening. Johnny Takeoff wins player of the week. No interceptions, no touchdowns, 0 tackles. The freshman literally did not record a single stat besides on the fumble side of things. He forced a fumble, he recovered 2 of them, and that was part of our win where we won 26-11. That's a great start. Also, our recruiting board is starting to expand a little bit. I found 2 physical tendency wide receivers with 86 speed and 85. I think that is worth trying to get them in, and we've also gotten some corners with 88 and 89 speed. If anything's really important about the 1-stars we're recruiting, it's going to be their physical attributes. They're probably not going to go up much throughout the rest of their career. And we need them to be just quick enough to where they can at least keep up with the bigger schools. We destroyed an FCS school. We're making strides forward, though. We're about to play Michigan State. And it's just hard for me to care about these results at the moment when this This is my main focus. You're going to see a bunch of athletes. I said we're going to go after. Hold up, though. Henry Sweet had 4 sacks against the Spartans, and we beat them 17-13. What is happening? We have just one more game now before the very important one against our rivals, Eastern Michigan. And these sim performances have started to become extremely refreshing. I almost want to sim against them, too. Derek Carr isn't really playing well. On the rushing side of things, 3 yards per carry is the most that we're getting. But we were still able to beat Miami, Ohio. And it's up to us to make sure the undefeated season doesn't end here. To be fair, we are in season 5, so this is around the time that you'd expect me to start having a little bit of success. But this team is built on classes of 1-star recruits, and we are still going to take that lead. It's raining, so it's not the environment that I want to be playing in. But it turns out that doesn't make a difference at all, because here in the fourth quarter, they've literally scored 0 points. It's our defense that's carrying this roster, but I'm perfectly fine with that. And we've picked up the second rivalry win that we need. If we get 2 more of those, we'll unlock the architecture. And look at this. Our junior free safety, Max Hickson, had 3 interceptions. That's what makes the difference in games like that. We're also having 0 issues whenever it comes to the kids that we're recruiting. And I'm going to continue to scout for the best talent as we sim to our game against Central Michigan. We have 2 games before we play them. I'm hoping that we're still going to be sitting at the top of the conference standings. And there's the commitment from the fastest receiver I've ever seen as a 1-star, 95 speed. We might have struck gold with Logan Claiborne at running back as well. He's going to turn out to be a gem. He is 91 speed, which is just perfect. And I think of the 2 quarterbacks that we recruited, Jay Scotland Williamson's going to be the better one, but that's got to be the longest last name I have ever seen on this game, so we're going to have to find a way to shorten it down. I should also point out that since we seem to pass the ball more than we run the ball, I'm going to look for just pass protector tendency offensive linemen to recruit. And this might be overdoing it, but I've made sure that every single one of these guys is also 6'7". I'm doing everything in my power to make this the best 1-star team of all time. It turns out that we beat Akron, but took our first loss against Toledo. And that's going to move us down to 3rd place in our conference, but if we went out, we could still make the MAC championship. We can hop into 2 games still. Of course, one of them has to be against Central Michigan. And once we finally unlock the architect tree, we won't have to play our rivals every season. I'm ready to hop in against other teams than just them. We are in a 10-10 spot at the moment. And on 3rd and 7, I might just throw up a jump ball here because we know he can make aggressive catches. That didn't work for us though. As long as we have a lead, we can maintain. And that's exactly what we've done is we're starting this 4th quarter still up by 3, picking up the 4th and 1. This game's certainly been a nice change of pace. We've actually been able to run the ball. And I'm expecting Kevin Hart to take us into the end zone, which he does right here. Central Michigan just won't go away though, which means we're trying to do the same thing again. And I think the reason we're blocking so well is at the moment everybody on our offensive line has the power tendency. I built the offensive line for more running than passing, even though that's what we tend to do. And it wasn't hard for us to close out the game from that moment. Kevin Hart went for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. And even if this season falls apart from here, I'm happy with how the year went. We've made it to where if we just win one more rivalry, I'll finally be able to go down this archetype. But we are just folding at the chance of making it to the conference championship, losing 26-0 to Ball State. I better not see that Derek Carr was healthy for this game. He threw 2 interceptions. He didn't even throw for more than 100 yards. And that literally just ruins the end of this season. Of course, now we figure it out against the Huskies, 43-13. But we have no hope of making it to the conference championship, except we do play Ohio, I think. It might just be worth it to hop into this one since we can. Because if we won this plus our first bowl ever, that would be a 10-win season. There is snow on the ground up here in Western Michigan. And it's not held us back from being in a good position in this game. A touchdown right here is going to give us an 8-point lead. Or we could go for the 2-point conversion and make things more interesting. This is such a bad decision, but it will turn into a good one if it works. Kevin Hart is going to have an open lane. And it's actually causing them to attempt this field goal on 4th and 2 instead of going for it. Us getting the 2-point conversion put the pressure on them to not just be aggressive. And that means 1 first down from us ends this game, though we're going to have to pass. To get to 9 wins on the year, here on 3rd and 9, I hit it too late. But it's going to be extremely hard for them to score a touchdown with no timeouts and just a minute on the clock. I guess I forgot that they still had 1 remaining. But that is it. They can no longer stop the clock, and I almost gave that one up. This is not the time to try and bait them into interceptions. We're giving up a touchdown over on the left side, though. That is why we need speed at cornerback. We ran into that exact same issue the last time we used only 1-stars. We actually lost because of it. Decent return. But this time around, we can still go for the win. We have time to respond back, and using a playmaker, we're going to be past midfield already. I love it. It really helps having a senior receiver like him that we're able to lean on. This is put right where it needs to be as well. And it hasn't been hard for us to just center up for the field goal, though we're going to run it in instead. That's how you close out a game right there in the snow. All these fans in the background came out to support us, even though it's got to be like 20 degrees out. And that's because we're building something special. We still have Kevin Hart for another year after this, but we've made the MAC championship. I don't know how we have the 4-way tiebreaker over Akron, Miami, Ohio, and Ohio, but we do. We are the one team that gets in with 3 losses. And what did I say, I knew it was important that we played against the Bobcats. Now we're going to face off against the Rockets, which has the potential to be a massive moment for all of these one-stars. However, judging how the first 3 quarters went, I don't think there's any way that we're going to beat Toledo. And we really need to convert on this 4th and 2. I just can't believe we've only scored 6. Our defense has been the key to our success. They just didn't show up. And I'll try my best to overcome a 4-possession deficit. We just know that's hard to do. They've gotten us to a 4th and goal because we stopped being able to run it. We could here. But we also have to be able to get stops, and I bit on that play action. Good throw. By the time that we're going to get it back after holding them to a field goal, there's like 3 minutes left in this game, which means we need to score an instant touchdown. And we all know that we don't really have the receivers capable of getting us an instant touchdown. Anytime we try to throw it up, we're just going to experience some drops. They are able to run with our receivers too. And time is running out. This is it right here. 4th down. Hang on. I don't know why they put that coverage out there on the field, but Ogletree is able to just dust by number 5. That's good news for us. I'm also going to go for the 2-point conversion just because I can. I don't really care. What really matters is that we're able to hold them to a 3 and out. This is going to be a handoff to the right side that we can get all over. And for whatever reason, they are deciding to throw the ball on this next down where they drop it. This is actually such a huge 3rd and 7. We can't afford to give this up. We don't. And you see that we still have all 3 of our timeouts. You see that we have just hit the 2-minute warning. There is still an opportunity for a comeback. This would certainly turn into probably the greatest one I've ever had if we end up pulling it off. And it is time that we look for isolation over there on that left side of the field. Give me this aggressive catch, get out of bounds. Things are actually going pretty well for what we need in this scenario. The drag route's open. What are you doing? We can't afford mistakes like that right now. We needed to get in right there. We should be able to with this throw. And you know that all we have to do is hold them to 1 more 3 and out now. Now let's be real with this defense. It's a little bit easier said than done. I do not trust it at all, but it's going to be 3rd and 5. This is where things get a little tricky. They are going to run it, which helps us, though we are not going to be quick enough to stop their running back, and he might take it all the way. This is just a disaster. That's why we need to recruit speed at every position, because if they beat us to the outside like that right there, which we know the big schools are going to do with their amazing running backs, there's nothing I can do. That was this kid's first big run of the day too, and it's going to prevent us from winning our first MAC championship. Even though those first 3 seasons were super rough though, for being 5 years in, this is about where I wanted to be. And with Utah State as our bowl opponent, we could still achieve a 10-win year. That'd be incredible. Derek Carr's actually had a worse season this year though than he did last year. Looking at our rushing stats, Kevin Hart went off. 800 yards, 11 touchdowns, might be the best we've seen, and look at Casas go. It truly is a shame that we're not going to have a physical receiver for a while after he graduates. But we know that I've recruited a couple of them that are even faster than he is. It just depends how they develop. Now in this bowl game against Utah State, unlike our last game, we've actually played well defensively. But here's the problem. We only have a 2-point lead, and if they get into field goal range, we're going to lose. That's exactly what they've done, though. They're spiking the ball. And it is time to send a crib, which is not working out for us. They are already going to the 10. They're probably just going to settle for 3 from here. And I think if we want a chance in this game, we're going to have to just let them score a touchdown. Not my favorite thing to do there, but we weren't going to have enough timeouts to stop the clock. Using Playmaker on the run, this could be beautiful, but it's not. And it's because we stepped 1 foot past the line of scrimmage. That is going to make things much more difficult for us, though we do have our crossing route. We can get out of bounds. And we don't have a jump ball receiver for no reason. We get to use him a couple more times, except he did not win that one-on-one. Come to think of it, that might actually be the first one that he's let us down on. I thought for a second that I lost this game coaching against a girl, but it was just a dude with long hair. Looking at the playoffs, Syracuse won the championship. And everything seemed fine for next season besides losing guys like Eduardo, except the fact that Javonte is now declaring early for the NFL draft. We weren't convincing him to come back. He was getting first-round love as a 5'10", 181-pound rusher. He was never going to stay. And our recruiting board is already completely filled up, so I can't get anybody in the transfer portal if I wanted, but there are some 1-stars that could have been cool to pursue. That's something I'll have to keep in mind for next year. We already have a full recruiting board. It is time to see if there's anybody in here that has a depth trade higher than impact. And unfortunately, both of our quarterbacks are normal, but if I scroll down here to Gideon, he has star dev as a 93 speed receiver. Just taking a look at all the athletes that we've brought in, I have my work cut out for me. I got to move all these players around, but there's a good chance that most of them are just going to end up going over to a speed rusher linebacker. Now, you could say I've overdone things a bit too much to have this many left outside linebackers as freshmen, but most most of them don't have the speed to play other positions, and then when they do, like this kid is 89, he's not great anywhere else. He was supposed to be a running back as an athlete, but we already brought in 2 freshmen that are both faster than him, and he would have only been a 45 overall, which means we're going to see if he can figure things out on the defensive side of the ball. Now, we have to start getting tacticians in here after this next recruiting class, or else our overalls are never going to get much higher. And there's a real case for making Derek Carr sit right behind freshman DJ Swartz. He jumped up to an 82. The problem with most of the players that we have at the moment, though, is they've been fully capped out on their skills for such a long time. And since our roster has 107 players, 22 over the limit, I'm going to have to cut some of those guys that aren't ever going to get on the field. Truth be told, I want to focus in on the future, and at the moment, Derek Carr won't be the future for us. This doesn't feel right, but we're going to encourage him to transfer somewhere else so he can play. And the same thing's actually going to happen to Kevin Hart because he only has 83 speed. I don't care if he ran for 800 yards. It wasn't easy to do, but I was eventually able to cut our roster down. I'm also going to redshirt every freshman that we've recruited so they can actually be around by season number 10. Another thing I have to do is I have to sign another full class of 35 players. I have this written down in my plan, but the problem with that is we only have 11 seniors, so I'm going to have to cut like 24 guys again next year. This is more so about me trying to care about how we perform once we get to seasons 9 and 10 instead of caring about where we're at right now. And it might not seem like it makes much sense, but if we're ever going to get that overall high enough to beat teams like Syracuse, beat teams like Michigan, we have to take these steps. I mean, at the moment, there's just no way this year goes well. We're a 74 overall, but I think the roster is much better than that shows, which is why we beat Georgia State by 33 points. Freshman DJ Swartz started for his first game, 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Everything went well offensively. And when it comes to recruiting, we've actually been able to find ourselves 4 one-star gyms. There's a little bit of competition for one player, but that is literally it. Just like last season, I think it's important that we get a couple quarterbacks. I want to have as many options at that position as possible. I've also picked up some safeties and an extra corner. We're going to be getting like 5 extra corners, in fact. And look at this running back, 90 speed plus a gym. Even if they only ever get up to like an 80 overall, by the time that they're seniors, that could make a big difference. And just to check in to see where we're at compared to some of the bigger programs, we're going to play on the road at Michigan. What you're seeing in this game is just pure domination from them. It's why we have to max out the tactician trees. We have to get better. And we are clearly nowhere near being a championship contender. It's going to take a lot to even have a chance in season number 10. It's safe to say that this one-star only challenge is not for the weak. And I truthfully believe that with the plan I have, nobody out there that's watching this video is going to be able to build a higher overall roster out of 1-stars. My prediction right now is we're going to be able to make it up to like an 86, 87 overall. But that could be pushing it. It turns out we're going to lose to Syracuse, take down FCS West, and then beat Kent State on the road by 5. So we're going to be 3-2 going into the most important rivalry game that we have ever played. And this is literally it right here. It's to unlock the architecture. Now, I would certainly prefer that with 2 minutes left, we were not trailing by 4, but we should be fine. And you have to keep in mind, we have a freshman quarterback out there that is a little bit quicker than what we had in the previous seasons. In fact, I think DJ Swartz is as quick as they're going to get for us. Using Playmaker, this could be a bit of a dump throw. We catch it. But here's the problem. If they happen to have any success, they're going to score, and there it is. I don't know what type of coverage that was. It looked like we could have intercepted, and I have learned my lesson. We will be sending 0 blitzes the rest of this rebuild. I also threw it straight to him. What am I doing? What am I doing? We're blowing this rivalry game. There was no reason to force that at all, though we're going to shoot in that gap. And maybe we can do the same thing on second down we do. I really don't think they're going to pick up this 3rd and 16. They have nowhere to go. But we need them to shank this field goal, and it's not happening. This time, we cannot throw an interception. It is better to take a sack. And I really don't have the option to just throw it up like I did in previous seasons. We don't have a jump ball receiver to win it. We're going to knock it out of bounds. And I might just have to click on with Gomez anyway and see if we can come back, turn around, hold on. That is the most successful play in this Western Michigan playbook. We also have enough time to get this out, but it really wasn't there for us. We need to be able to hit our tight end, and he goes out of bounds. Whatever happens here, we cannot go down in bounds. This is probably just going to get thrown away. And I'm looking to hit a slant over the middle of the field. I don't know if that's going to work. Now it is time for the 2-point conversion. Big play call coming up. And I don't want to go to overtime. I am going to try Hyman out of Wildcat. I'll never go back to this again if it doesn't work. He is 90 speed. The blocks are good. We're winning. I might have thrown an interception, but it's not going to cost us this rivalry. And we're going to be using DJ Swartz for the next 4 years. The only way that we won't is if one of our younger quarterbacks that are being redshirted right now jumps him in overall. And at the moment, both of their accuracies are pretty much already capped. At least he is 1 skill cap he could still unlock, but that's why this next move is so crucial. We are going to spend the 15 coach points that it costs to unlock the architecture. And at least over here on the offensive side of the ball, we are going to make sure there's a chance to increase a random skill cap every time that that we level up, I'm also going to do tier 3 for receivers and offensive linemen, because for every 3-game win streak, they're going to level up even quicker. As we get more coach points, we will get to tier 3 for other positions, but at least for now, we're going to have tier 2 for all of them besides defensive line. And if we want to start leveling up quicker, we need to be winning a lot more. Our recruiting classes aren't helping us out too much. You don't get good bonuses for recruiting a bunch of 1-stars, though we're signing everybody. And there's one position I haven't spent too much time recruiting yet. It's offensive line, but just like last year, every single one of these players besides one center is 6'7". I literally think what I'm about to do is just sim all the way down to this game against Miami University. They're ranked, they're undefeated. That means skipping over Central Michigan for the first time, which is what I want to prioritize since the Redhawks are sitting at the top of our conference. Well, I think I'm going to have some good news for you all as we go into the final week. And that's because we're sitting at 8-3, but Miami, Ohio's 10-1. They're also ranked number 15. We barely survived at Toledo. We also lost at Ohio, who's 10-2 at the moment. They could be in the running for the conference championship, but we won all these games, including beating rival Central Michigan. And we got to talk about how good of a season the MAC conference is having as a whole at the moment. That's not necessarily great for us, though. It puts a lot of pressure on our team. And at the moment, it seems like we are going to fall to Miami, Ohio. Big 4th and 6 right here. Our drag route's going to be open. We're still trailing by 10. And I'm not feeling good about it, though we are going to try to throw this one up, and there's no way that we don't catch it. I saw the press. Gomez is apparently fast enough to beat it. He might have beat it again, too. He only has about 89 speed. And if they're going to stick that white corner on him, we're just going to bully him. We do have a problem, though, and that's when it comes to getting the ball back. We basically can't let them pick up this 3rd and 4. I'm not sure anything's open, though they were able to get it. They've also just thrown us off of them. What is that? Like, how is he going to fully shove our player and we're just going to fall backwards? We're not that bad. This is the problem with using 1-star recruits. We're going to lose. And I think because Ohio had the tiebreaker versus us, they're going to make it to the conference championship. This was our year for it, but I do have some good news. We can get rid of this defensive coordinator that's been a recruiter for us. And if we find the right guy to fill him in, all of our team stats will be boosted. I'm not worried about that bowl game at the moment. I just want us to get a tactician, and this might be the best we can find for now, but I'm going to search for a bit longer. We're going to have multiple weeks before we hire anybody. For now, we can take on Troy. Try to win our first bowl game. And I just noticed it's saying our team overall